the number for your business, or we had a business. Well, the master came back. He said, just change my principles. I was putting up like this back in the day.
I don't. Well, I had him as my principal. Because if you want to, you can't take care of it. Yeah. Rob, Clayton. Nice to meet you. Surprised you guys didn't call the police today. Yesterday I was over stalking while you're checking out. Oh, you did? Checking out behind. Some guy pulled up in a Pilot with a taped window. That's awesome. That's awesome. That's a good thing. That's why I got out of the car. Feel like this.
I thought I saw this.
I'm like, somebody's gonna call.
I saw him Monday night. He's not looking.
Yeah, I got it. One of them didn't work.
It was his
Line out, let's do that one.
he is objecting to some applications.
I've changed my, after I got 55, I changed my philosophy, want to retire early, I think we're yeah, it's going to be stay sharp. Which not at 85.
Right.
And he's like, by some 65, 70, it's like, what are we doing really?
Right.
Little. Just a little. Nothing to get out of the house. See people, talk to some people. Do some things that I can, light and easy. Right? Not objective.
So I should get up before the meeting starts and say, all right, if anybody's here for the C Street, that's tonight.
I was laughing. My wife sent me a text this morning from her sister who lives on she saw something about the C Street. Had a big thing said canceled.
Oh, yeah.
I should say that.
Karen.
I know, right? He has no idea about it.
Right.
Just out of curiosity, Frankie's alley. What it was that we got. It was good to see you.
I'll see you.
I talked to him. No idea. Ready? What the fuck? No.
Karen, you up? You good? I'd like to open the regular meeting of the Point Pleasant Beach Board of Adjustment for June 18th, 2026. Get a reading of the Open Public Meetings Act, please.
Adequate notice of the time this meeting was given under the provisions of the Open Public Meeting Act and was posted and sent to the official designated newspapers in compliance with the law.
Roll call, please.
Mr. McGee.
Here.
Secretary Davis.
Here.
Ms. McFadden.
Here.
Vice Chair Reynolds.
Here.
Chairman Strunkus.
Here.
Mr. Neal.
Here.
Mr. Clayton.
Here.
Mr. Loder.
Here.
Mr. Simonovich.
Here.
So we have the two resolutions. Be it resolved by the Board of Adjustment that hereby memorializes the action of vote approving application 2026-11 of Mike Andrus-Scavage and Amy Reisenberger at 119 Parkway with conditions. May I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Vice Chair Reynolds.
Yes.
Secretary Davis.
Yes.
Mr. Clayton.
Yes.
Ms. McFadden.
Yes.
Mr. McGee.
Yes.
And Chairman Strunkus.
Yes.
Be it resolved by the Board of Adjustment that it hereby memorializes the action of vote approving application 2026-08 of Joseph and Mary Deanne at 708 Foreman with conditions. Motion?
So moved.
Second.
Vice Chair Reynolds.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mr. Clayton.
Yes.
Ms. McFadden.
Yes.
Mr. McGee.
Yes.
Mr. Simonovich.
Yes.
And Chairman Strunkus.
Yes.
That would be it, and then we're on to our application 2026-14 of 808 Arnold Avenue, represented by Mike Rubino. And Mr. McGee and Mr. Simonovich are recusing themselves from this application.
doing? Michael Rubino Jr., appearing for the applicant. Mind if I sit down?
No, you can sit down.
I'm getting all my rights. Don't hold me up. This application is for the building. I'm sure the board's familiar with it, where Rudy's Restaurant Supply used to be. On the property, on the front of the building on Arnold Avenue, is the front of the building is a commercial space that Rudy used to occupy. And as you work your way to the rear of the property, there's a house, you might call it a cottage or a house, it's very nice, along with a swimming pool and a fence. And then behind that, heading south, there's an easement. I shouldn't call it easement, there's a driveway or concrete, whatever you want to call it, that goes to the street to the south that is in the residential zone. So we are here tonight for a request to allow my client to operate the premises in the front building. We do have one prospective tenant, the architect and engineer will get into more specific detail about exactly how much room they're gonna take up and so forth. But that tenant is familiar to you in town. It's a gym, and they will be opening, hopefully, if the board approves this, they will be opening up a spot on Arnold Avenue. It's a unique gym, to tell you the truth. I used to be a gym rat, don't look like it because my belly's getting bigger, but I've never heard of a gym like this where they only operate 8 o'clock in the morning to 10 o'clock in the morning, and there's 2 sessions, and they're group sessions, and I think there's 10 people per group, and of course there's a couple instructors. So at any particular time, there will be, under that tenant, there'll be about, at tops, 25 people. And then the same thing would happen with the second session. So there'll be some overlap between the 2 sessions, but there'd be very, I would say for the size of the building that they're taking up, there'd be very little parking. As the board probably knows, just to the east of the subject property, there's a town parking lot which holds, I think, about 25, 30 spots. There is no real parking on the spot per se. There's a couple spots right near the funeral parlor that are owned by, that are owned by my client, and the tenants generally stay or park their cars there. If you want to call it a driveway in the back that runs into the residential zone, that is supposed to be used. It's very seldom used, and when it is used, it's supposed to be used only by people visiting the residential tenant. There's no intent as part of this application to have that spot, that area used for parking or for access to the commercial building. And we would agree up front to limit the use of that to for folks who are either visiting or staying in the back house. As I stated, and there'll be testimony to go along with that, there is, right now, I was over there a couple times just taking pictures and so forth. There's nobody on that lot. I know a lot of residents here are concerned because the street in the back is probably not much wider than from me to the door over there. And it is, I can understand their concern. It's not really an ideal street to have trucks or many cars moving back and forth on. So we acknowledge that right up front, and we would acknowledge some type of restriction if the board does go along with this application. to put some type of restrictions on the use. As I said, my client, the only reason why he says it's even there, it happens to be there as part of the property. God knows how it was formed years ago. But he has no intent of having any of his commercial tenants be allowed to park there, have trucks go through there, or anything else like that. And from a practical standpoint, if any of you had the opportunity to walk from the end of that driveway to around the house, around the pool, around the fences, to the actual commercial building, you would have to be one super strong person to be able to even drag something from that portion, from that back of that, if I call it a driveway, from the back of that driveway to the actual commercial building. So I do know, and my client recognizes that that is of big concern to the folks who live in the area, and that's probably one reason why we have so many folks here tonight, that they're concerned about that. And we recognize that that is a legitimate concern. We will have expert testimony on from Mr. Kashuba and from an architect and my client. We also have that's testimony from my client on the proposed use of the premises and so forth. But right now, as we said, the only tenant that we have under contract right now is the gym. There is a restriction and a deed that there's a restriction and resolution that goes back to 1995 that limits the use of the upstairs attic, I'll call it, of the premises to storage only. We would, as part of this application, we would be asking the board to lift those restrictions and allow that portion of the building to also be used for some type of tenant in the future. As I said, we do not have other tenants right now. We are looking for other tenants. I would note that this is sort of at the southern section, I shouldn't say southern, it's the western section of the business section of town. Once you get a little further west of this, it turns into more residential. But it is part of the commercial area, and it's our feeling that there should be something in those buildings. That's why we have areas zoned commercial, and Point does not have a lot of parking in it, other than the town was wise enough at some point to purchase some lots here and there. So there is frequently enough parking in the areas that the town provides for parking to allow visitors to come and park at the in town to go to whatever businesses happen to be there. I don't want to get into too much more because I do have my client and so forth, but unless the questions, we will be going through all the variances and raised letter and so forth. We will be going through all that as we proceed through the case. But we do acknowledge that a use variance is necessary because of the two uses on the premises. So this would be a site plan application with use variances.
Good, I think it's time for your witnesses. So
Okay.
unless Ben has anything to add, or Ray, I don't think we want
No,
you
Mr.
to have
Chairman.
to answer and testify to anything, so bring it on.
Yeah, thank you. I don't like to make my openings too long because it's, as they used to say, whatever the attorney said is not evidence. It's, so some people would actually say it's BS, but it's, so.
So you're good, you're within the 15-minute limit, so you're good.
No, I like to keep it short if I can.
Here you get sworn in.
Yep.
Oh, sure.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you give before this board will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Name, please.
Michael Iarrapino, I-A-R-R-A-P-I-N-O.
Mr. Arpino, you are the owner of the premises in question, is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. It's my wife and myself.
And how long have you owned the premises?
Probably about a year and a half, I guess now, a little over a year.
You're not specifically in the landlord commercial tenant business, are you?
No, I have a contracting business and I, dabble in real estate. As my wife calls it, my side hustle.
And you did purchase this property with what in mind?
Just to redevelop it. The realtor that I do a lot of work with brought it to my attention, and I went into the building, and it was kind of, I'm sure, I don't know if some of the members of the board have been there, but it was all full of restaurant equipment stuff. I mean, the stainless steel alone was probably, you could buy a Cadillac, but I don't know, the building just caught my eye. It was something that I always like to buy what I call a diamond in the rough, and I get a lot of satisfaction out of rebuilding these buildings and fixing them up, and getting tenants and stuff like that. So it just it was an estate. It definitely needed some TLC. I've done a lot of work to the building already on the outside. I've painted, I've put new roofs on. The building never had air conditioning inside of it. I don't know how he used to work out of it, but I put new furnaces in, new air conditioning in, stuff like that. So I've done some stuff, all permitted. I've done some stuff, but I was looking for tenants, and we've had a bunch of prospective tenants on the right side. Matt and his wife approached me about the gym. Their building is being knocked down the road, so it was a great fit. Actually, ironically, one of my best friends went to school with Matt, so we kind of hit it off. So that's pretty much it. I'm just looking to fix the building up, rent it out. The residential house has had a tenant now for about 12, 13 months, I guess already, 14 months maybe. Just a husband, a wife, and a child.
Besides the house, there's also a very nice pool there and a patio.
Yes, there was a very nice pool, yes, yep. So
And there was some question, we can answer it now, because I had my own question I meant to ask you. There's a shed back there. What's that shed used for?
yeah, the shed's just storage stuff. It's, really not, honestly, I don't think the tenant has anything in there. It's really for the pooled equipment, for the cover, for the winter and that kind of stuff.
The tenant, so that shed is not for the commercial property?
No, that, basically from the back of the building, the commercial building, going back towards the West Laurel, I believe it is, that's all part of the residential tenant. The pool is a residential tenant, the house is a residential tenant, the rear driveway is the residential tenant. These people don't even use it.
The people that are in there now, when we say these people, the present tenants
Present tenants do not use it.
do not use that driveway strip.
No.
And because I would imagine a
I'm
good.
sorry, I'm going to ask for a clarification.
Sure.
You were talking about the shed when he asked you if the tenant used it, and then you said the driveway strip. Does the tenant currently use the south driveway from
That's
West
what I
Laurel
was
to
gonna
get
ask
onto
him,
the
how
property?
You mean the rear driveway?
Yeah, I want clarification.
Yeah, no, they don't use it because like I just said earlier, it's a husband, a wife, and an 8-year-old son. So there's parking in the front of the house,
Okay.
which is adequate for these particular tenants.
So they access from Arnold Avenue?
Yes, they do.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, and just to clear up that, because I know there's a lot of concern, that was my next question. There's a lot of concern from the residents about the use of that driveway and whether, number one, will you agree up front that you will not have, and it'll be in your lease or however you'll do it, that the front tenants will be advised, the commercial tenants will be advised that they cannot use that strip for any purpose whatsoever, to park there, have deliveries made there, or anything of the sort?
Yeah, that is strictly deeded or used by the residential tenant. It's in the residential tenant's lease, and it's in the commercial tenant's lease as well, that they cannot use the back. Because they can't go through somebody's backyard anyway to get to the commercial building in the front.
And even if somebody, say, got lost and wanted to use it, I walked it myself. I mean, if you were 17 without carrying something, you could probably get from that driveway area to the commercial building, but it would not be easy, is that correct?
No, it's the backyard is kind of flat, mostly flat, but it's not great. And then you have to go around the pool. If you hypothetically parked a commercial truck in the back driveway, you would have to go through the gate, through the backyard, around the pool, around the other side to the front of the residential house to go into the front of the building pretty much. So It's basically like, it's a unique property. The back part where he used to live is residential, and the front part is commercial.
When you're saying,
Rudy, the old owner, I think his name was actually Robert, I believe.
okay, but everybody knows it as Rudy's.
Everybody knows him as Rudy.
So
yes.
you're saying that in both the residential and the commercial lease, there's verbiage that says they can't use that back?
Yes, sir. Yeah, and there's actually a sketch too in the lease showing what their areas are based off the site plan. So if you visited the site, anything from the pool back, from the back of the building back is the residential tenant. So the rear driveway, I'll be honest with you, I live in the next town, I live in the borough. I go through there all the time on my way home. I see more of strangers' cars there than anything. I mean, I've parked there once myself for the seafood fest, but, you know, the tenant has never, to my knowledge, ever used the rear driveway.
All right, so I think a follow-up question that I have
I've never
is,
seen a carport on it.
Excuse me?
if,
I don't think I've ever seen.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's very rare, yeah, yeah. If it's,
We're mentioning this as a driveway.
yeah.
I don't even think there's a curb cut there. Like, I don't.
It's sort of like, I got a picture of it.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
all,
well, I mean, the
like
other thing
old
too with
trucks.
that, I'm sorry.
What
The
was
other
that?
thing with that rear driveway, the utilities for the house come through that driveway. The New Jersey Natural Gas and the water are actually fed off of West Laurel to the house. They don't come off of Arnold. They come off of West Laurel, so.
These are a couple pictures.
You'll have to get that marked in.
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
I'll have it marked. You can identify these pictures?
Yeah, this is, well, this right
I'll
here,
mark- You want me to mark it or want to bring it
It's
over?
A3.
A3.
If you stop talking so she could stop typing, she'll put a sticker on it.
Okay, well, give it to her, put a sticker.
Sorry, what? I know, they can't talk, they can't type.
Yeah.
Thank you. There you go.
You could talk again.
Thank you. I feel like I'm at home.
I get it.
Tell us if you would on what's been marked as A3.
A3.
Tell us if you would. Is the bottom picture, is that the picture of that driveway
yeah,
we're
so
talking
this,
about?
so this is the driveway to the rear off of West Laurel. This is the neighbor to the right. There's another neighbor to the left. And, you know, there's a fence back here with a gate. And again, this driveway, as one of the board members just stated, that it's really never used. I mean, like I said,
Did we clarify if it has a curb cut?
I can't see by this picture. I don't think it does.
so the entire street, the entire curb on West Laurel is what you call a mountable curb. So there's no distinct curb cuts. It's like a continuous low curb.
If you would, just so while we have that section up and then we'll flip it, just walk through if you would to the
Okay,
board,
so
then I'll hand it up to the
going,
board.
starting from the top left, this would be the front of the house. And this right here where this quad is, this driveway in the front is used for the residential tenant. Like I said, right now, it's currently a husband and wife and an 8-year-old son. And they never park in the back. They park here.
How many parking spots are in the front of the house?
In the front of the house, you could probably fit like 4 cars here.
Got it.
Yeah, at least. I think you could fit like 3 or 4, for sure.
And
Actually, here, in the middle picture here, this is the commercial building to the left, and this is the house back here. So as you can see, you know, the property line goes kind of like this corner of this garage for the funeral parlor is the property line. We have a shared driveway in the front here, like this black top here, some of this is the funeral parlor's parking lot. It's a very unique piece, and that's shown on the engineer's drawings. But, I mean, even here's the loading dock back here for the commercial building by the porta-john. So even on this side, you could probably fit 8 to 10 cars if you wanted to.
So the question comes up, why would anyone want to use the West Laurel, so-called driveway, which is it looks like it's kind of far from the house?
It is, right? It
Right,
is.
so why would anyone even want to use
I
that?
think just if you have company. I mean, if you had company in the middle of the summer, let's say, you know, you
just
might,
justified that by their lease, it can't be used.
no, it can be used by their,
I asked a specific question about both tenants, the house, and, so am I wrong in assuming that?
the back driveway is part of the residential property. So
I'm sorry if we confused, I thought I mentioned in my opening.
No,
The
I asked this
I heard the question, I was gonna try and clear it up once we
because
got,
I wanted to follow up.
the rear driveway, if we want to call it a rear driveway, is allowed to be used by your residential tenants, if they want to use it, correct?
That is correct.
Since you've owned the premises, the present tenants have not used it, is that correct?
To my knowledge, that is correct.
Yeah, let's
Okay?
just move away from whether they use it or not use it. It doesn't
Okay.
matter, it's
Yeah.
usable.
Right.
It is
And we
usable.
know that they can park there if they
Right.
want. We know that it's in the lease agreement from the businesses that they're not allowed to use it, and nobody can come in from that back way. So whatever the driveway is, as it's connected to residential, it is what it is.
Fine.
Correct.
Okay. Anything else to say? Why don't we
The other thing is, this is the shed. Like, behind the shed is that rear driveway for the residential tenant. So this is the backyard. The pool would be right here if it was bigger, but that's pretty much it.
Why don't you flip over and just identify,
I'll just pause one more time on the driveway ending to then, I guess the question would be whether we need anything in our resolution or this decision that would further regulate that beyond what's in the lease agreement.
if we put this down a second.
And they-
You could
and-
possibly,
And
but
he
you-
offered that in the beginning, that they
Correct.
would be willing to do that. So
Correct.
Correct.
I'm just, keep that on the
Wait,
list.
If the
Yeah.
board does agree to approve this application, we would have no objection. Matter of fact, we would encourage a restriction in your resolution, and we would even file it by deed to confirm it, so for anybody who going further with this property would know that that's a restricted area,
Sure, thank you.
okay?
Thank
All
you.
right.
All right, so my follow-up question is, have you given any consideration to tearing up the concrete, planting grass, and doing away with that driveway completely?
No, I have not.
Okay.
Which kind of begs the question, like, so yeah, I parked there on Seafood Festival.
Right, yeah,
So,
it becomes a commercial
Hey,
parking lot.
12 of my friends just parked here on, because it is like 22 feet wide and 100 and some odd feet
It's like
deep.
twice
So,
the
so it's,
width of it.
it's a driveway, but it's,
Is it
It's a
technically a driveway? We
it's a
keep on calling it
substantial-
a driveway, but like, again, I've never seen a car on it, and
how it got there, I don't know.
You should go on Seafood Festival Day. Lots of, 12, there's 12.
there will be 12.
No,
I don't even think there was on Seafood.
Honestly, I was there on Seafood Fest Day. There was one car. It was my wife's car. It was a black car. That was my wife's car. That was it.
Yes.
Like I said, honestly, I've driven by there. The neighbors use it when they have company, not even my tenant, and I don't say anything, whatever.
All right. Any other questions about that? I'll move to the front board. Why don't you just walk us around the front board, if you would?
Okay, so the front top left is the municipal parking lot. As you can see to the right here is the side of the building. The middle page here is the front of Arnold Avenue, which has the pavers. And this is just another view of the front. See, this is the side where the gym would be going, basically. So from here to my left, or to your, this would be the gym side. The right side, we've entertained a couple of tenants so far.
Are you done with this?
Yes.
Did you identify all the pictures?
Well, this is the municipal lot again.
Right.
That's the house, yeah.
Right. Did the board want me to hand it up, or just put it on the easel?
Diesel's fine.
All right, thank you.
That's what I want to see. That's a great idea.
As far as just going to just one question about the rear building. That is a one-family building, that's not two-family building.
That is a one-family building, 2-bathroom, 3-bedroom, kitchen, and a living room, family room, living room.
And immediately to the south of that is a funeral home.
That is correct.
And you almost share those driveways.
The one section, like when you first pull in, they're to the right, we're to the left, it's a joint driveway.
What's the, so you're over on impervious. Again, when you said tear that up, does that put them, what is the percentage of the lot?
Why don't we wait for the engineering testimony? if we
Yeah,
can?
that sounds good.
Driveway encompasses? Is that what you were gonna ask? I can figure that out.
Thank you.
I think the one thing that needs to be clear to the gym tenant is, that area, including the driveway, because it's in their agreement, doesn't become a place where now you're flipping tires down the driveway, right? Like, the gym currently has an outdoor
Good
area that
question.
they're capable of using. This place isn't gonna really have an outdoor area that's capable of using.
Yeah, well-
That area between residential things can't become that area.
It won't. It won't. Again, it's going to be, Matt from the gym will testify. But it also, again, it's part of the residential tenant. The commercial tenants will have no use of that rear parking area.
How quickly, and we're gonna have the gym operator here, but quickly, your understanding of how that business, the gym business is run is how? How is it run?
Well, it's a very personalized gym, from what I understand. It's not like a Planet Fitness or anything. They do a lot of personal training. They have very limited hours, honestly, which Matt will testify to. Honestly, they're going to be a great tenant if you approve it. I mean, like I said, they're very nice people. They've been in the town for a long time. You know, when I talk to Matt and his wife, most of their patrons are from Point Pleasant or Brick. And again, they're more into the personal training than, like, you know, the weights and stuff like that. Their clientele, there's no kids or anything, not many kids, I should say, so there's really no trouble. I mean, they're just nice people, and again, you know, they've been in the town forever already.
He can testify to this, but you can even put it in the lease, and it could be put in, we'd have no objection putting it in the resolution. As the chairman mentioned, there's not gonna be any intent. Some gyms you go to, there's these long, I call them fake fairways of green stuff, and people are running back and forth, pushing tires, and where they get the energy to do that is beyond me. But it's not your intent to allow any of that type of activity in that area behind the residential house. Is that correct?
That is correct, and it is in the lease.
So there will be no other outdoor training activities of any kind?
No.
Right?
So certainly that can be a condition, but, so the proposed tenant notwithstanding, that tenant might not always operate in that fashion. So the crux of the application really is to remove the condition with regard to the second floor and the occupation of the building in its entirety for commercial uses. If the gym moves in there and it only has 2 sessions and 2 classes, that's fine. If the board approves the application, I'm not saying the board's not gonna approve the application, that tenant does not necessarily stay there forever. It's just that's just how they currently operate.
Correct. It could be tenant. Anything that becomes before this board, or almost any other board, in a commercial activity, things change over the years, but there can be things put in place by this board by conditions and resolutions, and also deed restrictions preventing the more heinous type of use that concerns the board and the immediate neighbors.
Ray, any future tenant that would have to go in there would have to meet what's approved in that zone for a business use, right? Otherwise, they would be coming back before us to get approval.
That is correct.
Yeah.
All right, while we're here, why do you tell the board, and we'll have you, rather than you try and sketch it out, approximately how many square feet is the gym getting?
I think the gym is getting about 6,000 square feet. It's basically getting the whole left side of the building, going to the back of the property, you know, to the back of the building. So the whole left side.
5413.
Thank you. Yeah, it's the original part of the building, actually. It's the oldest part of the building. The rear is an addition, but the original building was kind of like a house, I guess.
And tell us a little bit as part of our application, we're asking that the restriction for Rudy's Restaurant, that the upstairs attic be used for only storage. You're asking that be lifted. Could you tell us why and what you expect or would hope to be able to be used there?
Yes, it's just a different kind of use. You know, Rudy's was a restaurant equipment business. So far, on that right side, I've showed it to an antique, well, the realtor has showed it to an antique store, an interior designer, it's not like, the tenants that we've been talking to, they're not high-traffic tenants, you know? And, you know, the second floor, I don't know if anybody's ever been in the building when it's empty, but the second floor is beautiful. I mean, it's got very high ceilings, and, you know, he may have used it for storage, but I think there was more intent when maybe he put the addition on and built it, but the second floor is very, very nice, actually. All hardwood floors, I mean, it may have been approved for storage, but I think there was a lot more intent back in the day, in the 90s, when it was approved. You know, maybe he was gonna come back before the board, never did. I really don't know, but.
You say when it was approved in 1995, it was a storage only.
Yeah, the second floor was storage only. The first
So when
floor,
you say it was approved, what was approved?
well, when he put the addition on.
Oh.
He put it, yeah, he put an
They
addition
said,
on.
hey,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
addition is,
yep.
hey, storage only.
Right, so they used the basement, and they used the first floor and the second floor, which Mike Rubino was referring to, the attic, it's really the second floor. That was supposedly just supposed to be used for storage, although, you know, it was packed with stuff, I mean, you know.
You have much more you want to add?
Again, I think, you know, for the board, who you've shown it to, who's come, that type of business, low, whatever, none of it matters. Whatever we're approving is for the types of businesses that are allowed in that zone.
Correct,
So
yeah, yeah,
that's how we have to think of it.
okay.
Go ahead.
Do you have anything else you want?
No, I don't have any, does anybody have any questions for me,
Well,
or
The
any
board
other
may.
questions?
I'll lead that, thank you. Anyone on the board have any questions of this witness, of the owner? I'll explain this to the audience. You're gonna get a chance to comment on the case and tell us how you feel about the case, but after each witness comes up, on the testimony you heard, you're able to ask questions of that witness at this time. So you're not getting sworn in, you're not telling us how you feel about the case. This is just an opportunity, if you have any questions, and you'll have the same thing for architecture, engineering, gym owner, it'll go through the process. So does anybody have any questions of this witness? Sure, sir, come on up, just state your name, you don't have to get sworn at this time, where you live.
My name is Terry Brady.
Mhm.
I'm an attorney, I've been an attorney for 45 years.
Okay.
Represent 7 different land use boards in Ocean County. And I have really just one question for this witness at this moment.
Okay.
And that's the 1990.
Are you representing anyone, or are you here in your own interest?
My beautiful and lovely wife who's in the audience.
Okay,
And
that's a good representation. Do well here.
and the question I have is, do we have a copy of the resolution from 1995?
Yes.
Are you going to submit it into evidence?
Sure.
I would
It was.
suggest to the board that the.
Hold,
that-
hang on one second, Ray, what?
I
It
mean,
was?
I have a copy of it, I thought it was submitted.
I sent it to all the board members. I have sent
All the
it
board
out at
members.
the time of the application. If I can go print out a copy for you. I might have it in here.
Is there a copy that I can see?
Do we have an extra copy?
John, I'll go print it out.
Here,
Here's 1995.
Our friends here have a copy here. Thank you. The question is,
very good. Anyone
Can I
else?
see that?
Come on up, ma'am. State your name, where you live.
Sure. I'm Mary Turbick. I own a house on Kramer Avenue, and I live in Point Pleasant Borough. And I don't know if this is the first time, I've been here, so I don't know if this is the right time. But I didn't hear anything about this gym and the parking for the gym, which I think
That'll-
is actually a big question that a lot of us
That'll
have.
come with the site plan, right? I think you'll touch on,
Well, first of all,
so,
I did touch on the hours of operation and so forth, and so did Mr. Arpino. The gym owner is gonna be your next witness.
Okay, I'll be back.
yeah.
Gonna be our next witness.
Any other questions?
Hello.
Yes, state your name and where you live.
Jessica Simonovich. I'm at 809 West Laurel. You mentioned that no curb cut was needed, but why did I, as the owner of the next door property, have to apply for a curb cut when I built my house in 2016?
So, well, so that road was paved before my tenure even, so more than 20 years ago. So the driveway was there in some form, I don't know what form. I know it wasn't always all concrete the way it was now. I don't know when that came into being. So just looking at the aerial map, what I told Mr. Neal, It does seem that to some degree there is slight depressions, even though they're mountable curbs. So anytime your house is new, right? Newer, right. So that's good, you're getting there. Ma, no, you gotta see this. So anytime you go to access the public street, you have to apply for a curb cut, essentially. Even if, and again, it appears like, so some of the curb is a little higher, but it looks pretty much completely mountable in front of the property in question.
I have one more question. Can you identify any borough approval that established the West Laurel access as a legal driveway?
We'll have testimony presented that, as far as we know, goes back years.
So nothing from this witness that they can hand over, so we'll see what comes up.
And I'm sorry, just to interrupt, just for the record, so if anybody else has a question, we have a copy that we can mark in as a resolution.
Was that already, gotta ask
Yeah,
Karen if
no, that was,
part of.
Yeah, I think she already has it marked as
So
part
it's
of the.
already under our A1. Go ahead.
Hi.
Hello. What's your name?
Joan Rydell, and I live on Trenton Court, and I've lived there over 40 years, and I can tell you about that little piece of property. It was never used as a driveway. It was dirt with a little sprinkling of grass, and then just recently was paved, and he put a fence and a gate there. And we would have to have a police officer
Ma'am.
to say who's going through.
Ma'am, I don't mean to cut you off, but we're at the point of questioning this witness and the testimony, that's what I was saying.
Okay,
So do you wanna
he
end
is-
it with, are you aware of that? That would help.
Okay, well, he is saying that only the people from the house may use it, but who would question people coming in and out? So if there's
How would
a
people
bunch
be
of
questioned
tenants in
coming in
there.
and out if they were using it?
Well, again, like I stated earlier, I've seen strange cars parked there, you know, when, I'm assuming they're the neighbors. I've actually seen the neighbor's car one day, so I mean,
Nope, nobody parks there.
I've seen it, I saw it, man. But I'm not gonna argue, but again, I'm not gonna be the driveway police. I mean, what prevents anybody from parking in your driveway or your driveway or anybody's driveway? I mean,
Could happen, yeah. Okay,
Okay.
anyone else have a question? On to your next.
On to our gym owner.
Matt.
Where is it? And I should note, just because testimony so far is unclear about exact footage, we have the architect after the gym owner will
Yeah,
be
yeah.
going into details about that.
So you're just gonna get sworn in?
Do
Yes.
you swear affirm the testimony you give before this board will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do. Matt Jennings?
Matt, you gotta talk right in the
Yeah,
microphone.
Matt Jennings.
How you doing?
Good to see you.
It's not on the mummy, I'll do that again. Tell us a little bit about, you have a gym in town right now? Is that correct?
Correct.
And how long have you had that
We've
gym?
been there for 15 years at our current location, at 413 Railroad Square Plaza.
And due to some various reasons beyond your control, that building is coming down, is that correct?
Yes, it's, I think you guys are aware of the project.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there weren't reasons beyond our control.
So, yeah, so we're not getting forced out, but, well, it's going down, it's getting torn down, so we need to find a second relocation.
And you bumped into my client somewhere along the way?
Yeah, it was just happenstance. My wife is always great looking at spaces, saying this would be a great fit. I always fight her, and then I looked at it a little bit deeper, met Mike, we had a friend in common, and then I saw the vision for the space. It's nice and open. It's a little bit downsized from where we're currently at, but we don't need, as far as the square footage that we're in now, we don't need all that square footage, so.
And tell us a little bit about, so you have at least 15, you look like you worked at gyms before you owned the gym.
This has been my life. so.
Okay, so I don't want to fool around you, but in any event, you have substantial experience in the gym business itself.
33 years.
And we're calling this a gym, but it sounds to me more like a personal trainer use, is that correct?
We describe it as a personal training studio.
And what does that mean? And tell the board how that works.
It's very exclusive. It's members follow a structured program that we write and provide for the clients. They can only come in during sessions, classes. It's not an open gym. These are scheduled. They pre-sign for each of the sessions. And we have two programs. One's considered large group, which caps out at 15 members. And the other six clients, six clients, one trainer. That's our small group personal training program.
What are your hours of operation?
So Monday through Friday, 5:30 in the morning, and we're out of there by 11 in the morning.
And that's how many sessions are run in the morning?
Between large group and small group, 7. 6 to 7 sessions.
Okay, and how many students per session?
Large group would be maxed out at 15, small group 6. So there's 21 clients in the gym max and 2 coaches. One would be with the larger group and one would be with the smaller group.
And how many minutes or hours per session? Of the
The
sessions
average
run?
45 minutes are sessions.
And again, how many people are in each?
15 in our large session and 6 in our small group session.
So tops, there would be 21 students on the premises at any one time in the morning.
Correct.
And how many instructors and
2.
yourself and so forth?
2. Sometimes we'll have an extra coach in there, just assisting the coach.
So if we're adding up 25, 26 people.
Max.
Would probably be about the max.
Max 24, 25. Yep.
And how about your afternoon sessions?
We only have 2, 5 and 6 p.m., Monday through Thursday. Friday, we don't have afternoon sessions, and then we're there Saturday mornings from 7 o'clock, and we're done by 10.
And that's it, no
That's
Sunday
it.
session?
No session.
And if I came walking by, I say, gee, that looks like a nice place, and I want to sign up, but just work on my own, I couldn't do that, I'd have to
No,
be.
you can't. There's a process.
Okay, all right,
It's not easy to get through that gate.
okay. All right, do you have anything else you want to add?
No, I don't.
Okay, I think that's all I have to add from you.
Is it the same number of people at night for the night classes?
It's slower at nighttime. So very, very much slower. Our busiest hours are in the morning sessions across the board.
Ray, I know in your number 5 here, you said, talk about on-site parking for existing and proposed uses. This is one of the proposed uses, but again, as you stated before, we have to look at the building in its entirety and the different things. No matter what, we're gonna have a super insufficient parking
There's a super
demand here,
shortage.
right?
Right. That is
You
correct.
stated 180 spots is what would be needed based on the layout of the building right now?
Yeah, I think that came right from Mr. Kashuba's plan, based on the indication about, so retail space is based on the square footage that the public has access to, one per 100. And then I'm not sure that the ordinance, I'd have to check whether the gym has a specific requirement there. But with regard to the architectural plans, and obviously Mr. Cox is yet to testify with regard to the usage of the basement, appeared to be open to the public as well as the first floor, as it always has been, as well as the second floor, which is currently restricted to storage.
Right.
So the amount of available space, when you divide it up and say all of them can be used, that generates that parking demand.
Sure, and I'm sure we'll hear more as we get into engineering and architectural
Correct.
testimony. I guess part of that paragraph states, the proposed uses for the board. We have one that's here. We're hearing that there is some nominal level of, you know, up to like 21 people max at any given time.
I think you said 25.
25, okay.
21 visitors per
Plus, yeah,
day,
plus
the
people that
employees.
work. Anyone on the board have any questions of the gym owner? No, anyone in the audience have any questions of this witness? Okay, come on up. Jim.
I do have one question, I'm sorry, it just occurred to me.
Hang on one second, man. Mr. Davis, go ahead.
CrossFit gyms have become kind of a big thing of recent, with a lot of loud music to get people pumped up. We have one just off of 35 by the Ace Hardware store.
John Leon's parking lot.
In that parking lot, and I can hear it from my house.
Would you
blocks
agree?
away.
Would
So
you agree
are-
not to,
do you- I assume,
yeah.
I've never heard anything, a peep out of your gym, so I assume you're not having loud bumping music. But I just want to get that on the record.
We keep it background. We want it just pleasant enough so it's there, but it's not overpowering the session or the coach's ability to coach effectively. So no, we keep
so
the music.
you have some music,
It's there,
inside.
it's not, we do not blast music.
and there's no music that should be heard outside except maybe when the door opens.
Right, correct.
And just as a follow-up to that, I know we've spoken about tenants do change over the years, and we would agree, although we really wouldn't want to agree upon the hours and limits of potential students, or whatever you want to call them. We would agree that no matter who's there, there would be no blasting music like you're saying. I think that's extremely annoying. I live near a place that has that, and you wonder what the hell's going on in today's world. But, so we would agree to that.
Ma'am, you just state your name and where you live and then ask your question.
Irene Conti, I live on West Laurel Avenue. Are you the proprietor of the gym?
Yes.
Do you need a permit from the town to operate a business? I'm just curious, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think future, okay? And I'm just thinking, are there different types of gyms?
I'm sure there are. Yeah.
Okay, if you decide you've had enough, go to Florida or whatever, and you sell your lease and your business, would the town have any recourse to look at what operation might be going in next?
I'll let Ben and Ray answer that one for you. The recourse would be again on what's approved in that zone for businesses, right, Ben?
Correct. So permitted to
I'm
permitted would be allowed.
Right.
So there's a list of permitted uses in the zone. Any business that fits under those permitted uses.
A gym is a gym, no matter how they operate it or what their.
Well, we could call this.
I mean, I don't know.
We could call this a personal trainer for this, and.
I understand it's a
Okay.
wonderful gym, very good, you get good reviews. But I'm just thinking down the road, if it changes.
It could go from gym to gym, or it could go from gym to some other permitted use. If another business that wasn't permitted wanted to come into that building, they'd have to come before the board for approval.
Okay. I was just curious about that.
Yep, so
Thank
that's
you.
how it's controlled.
All right, thank you.
You have to wait and see if there's anybody else.
Any other questions?
Andrew Penrod, I'm on Trenton Avenue. You stated now that you have 21 clients at a time in your classes.
Correct.
Oh, if 10 more people wanted to come in your business, so you're saying in front of the board and all of us right now that 21 is always going to be the max,
Yeah.
no matter what.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Next witness.
All right, Mr. Cox, you want to come up? Thank you very much, appreciate it. You bet. I was.
You were ready for that one.
Do you swear affirm a testimony that you give before this board will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Mr. Cox, a quick overview that
We know
states
you've
what
been
you
here
do.
many times,
But
very,
yes.
very quickly, you're a licensed
This is,
architect.
not only have you been here many times in the last 2 months, so.
Yes, okay.
Greg Thomas, licensed architect in New York and New Jersey, New Jersey professional planner. In the event, we do have another planner testifying tonight, but in the event my testimony kind of leads that way, I'm a licensed planner as well.
We accept. Please proceed.
Thank you. Why don't you have a seat?
I'd rather just kind of like stand.
Go ahead.
and
I'll let you do your
let me
thing.
at it.
Sure.
Great. Okay. So I think, and I'll just talk loudly. If you can't hear me, just let me know. Everybody kind of knows the building, I hope, was the former Rudy's Restaurant Supply. It's 804 Arnold Avenue, and it is located in the Downtown Historic Preservation and Special Improvement District, which is important. It's a new district that the town has just implemented, and it allows for primarily to preserve historic buildings. I don't know if I'd call this historic yet. The commission hasn't opined on that yet, but it is in the district, and the site would allow for this property to be developed where it could have commercial on the first floor and 2 floors of apartments, as long as it met the building height. In that configuration, presuming it had enough parking and was approved by the board, you could have some commercial space and maybe 12 to 14 apartment units of 2 and 3 bedrooms. We're not proposing that. My client has purchased the building and is fascinated and intent on preserving the existing building that everybody in the town is known for the way it's configured for probably 30 years. The original building, which is the east portion, was a 1-story building, and in communication and conferencing with our town historian, Jerry Woolley, he tells me this portion of the building was built in the 1930s. There's been several modifications and additions over the years, right up to the 1990s when the second floor was put on. And the building since then has remained in its current configuration. The existing house, as far as we know, in the back, the rear portion of the property, the south portion, was built sometime around the 1950s. The current proposal is to maintain the existing building and to extend the vibrant retail uses of the downtown district further west. And also, as you've heard testimony, we intend to hopefully relocate one of the very successful businesses in town to this site, which is currently gotta move because that property was approved for a mixed-use project. The existing building, I'm just gonna skip to the first floor. And again, Lift Gym is the proposed tenant for the eastern portion of the first floor. And the rest of the building, we intend to have retail or occupancy. We don't intend to increase the footprint. We don't intend to increase the square footage or the volume and size or shape of the building. What you see is what we spent some time and effort to bring the building back recently to putting on a new roof, refreshing the exterior, and we're proposing some interior modifications to accommodate the proposed uses. So aside from what's being proposed for the gym, for the gym area, the rest of the building we're proposing is gonna be retail uses or uses that are allowed in the zone. The benefit or the great thing about this idea of reusing the building as it is it's gonna expedite the revitalization of this property. It can happen in a much quicker time frame to renovate this rather than either renovating this into a 3-story building or knocking it down and starting all over. So this proposal can invigorate the downtown again, or extend the shopping district further west, and again, put the building back into use for the town. The second floor, which was originally approved just for proposing to have available for future tenants. Again, we're not going to expand that
When you
area.
say have available for future tenants, how many tenants?
We don't know. Could be one tenant take the whole space, or first and second floor.
Well, on the second floor, or
Mhm.
the attic.
Well, it's not an attic, it's a second floor.
I described it wrong. It's presently a storage area.
It's presently approved for storage, but it's a
Yes.
full walk-up floor. It's not an attic. There
So
is some
how
area-
many apartments would go in there?
Not apartments, we're not doing apartments.
It would solely be,
I think the confusion is, he said, under some of the new ordinances in town, this would be a redevelopment area where you can have a mixed use, part of which would
Got
be
it,
commercial,
okay.
We're not
part of
doing
would
that.
be
Okay, excuse me,
residential.
sorry.
So
It's-
it's not
it's in
our
the-
intent to try and do that with this
got it,
building.
okay.
Right, so it's just gonna be retail or whatever's allowed in the zone.
Why don't we just, so we have, if we can clarify, so the board knows what we're talking about, how many square feet are on the first floor? How much of that is gonna be taken up by the gym, and how many square feet are on the second floor?
Okay. So, in the world of architecture, we calculate square footage slightly different than the engineers do, and I'm not questioning their numbers. When we talk about parking, we'll use their numbers. When we talk about usable tenant space, we calculate it to the inside walls. So on the first floor, the total first floor, not including the loading zone, which is outside, we've got a total of 9,020 square feet. The gym, lift gym, is going to take the easterly portion of the first floor and the rear portion. That total square footage is 5,240 square feet.
Which leaves how much left approximately? Hate to put
Which
somebody
leaves, for
on
the
it.
first floor, the balance of the first floor would leave 3,780 square feet. So the gym is gonna take approximately 58% of the first floor and 32% of the total building. So it's a large tenant relative to the size of the building. We calculate the usable area of the building, including the basement, at 11,014.7 square feet. The reason I say usable area is because, I'll jump to the basement for a second. The basement that you can walk down into, and when this was Rudy's, I did walk down into the basement. Maybe it should have been just storage, but they had stuff down there. There's an area that you can walk in, and then there's an area that is like a Yankee cellar, which is low storage. So the usable area in the basement that you can walk in is 1,937 square feet. Also, on the second floor, because of the shape of the roof, there's quite a bit of area that goes from 7 feet down to 0. So again, architecturally, we calculate area that you can stand in, 7 foot high. So that's why our numbers are ever so slightly different from the engineers. On the second floor, we calculate 5,297 square feet. That would be usable. So our building, the total square footage of the building is somewhere around, it is approximately 16,254 square feet. By comparison to another building in town, Point Pavilion Antique Center, and I got this information off of Google Maps, so it's an estimate, but it's a pretty good one. Their first floor is about 8,200 square feet, their second floor is about 6,000 square feet, so they're about 14,000 square feet. So if you can, probably everybody's been at Point Antiques, that size building is almost as big as this one. We're about approximately the same size. And the reason I'm bringing that up is because we're eventually gonna be talking about parking. Our building, fortunately, is right next to a town parking lot that's available to everybody. It's not on our property. There's, I think, 30 It was just resite, 35 spaces, 35 spaces.
It was redesigned beautifully, I might add.
It's gorgeous.
I wonder who did that.
Did a great job.
35 spots are there.
35 spots, great. In the event, this building is fully occupied with an allowed uses, and that parking lot is full. Roughly, the next available public parking lot is down the street and past Prime 13, over there kind of by the high school. Again, from Google Earth, that's about 800 square feet of walking.
Square feet or feet?
I'm sorry, 800 lineal feet of walking distance. Wow, sounds like a long way, right? Well, also by comparison, if you walked from Sunshine Daydream to Spanos, that's 875 square feet, linear feet. That's about a 3-minute walk, maybe 4 if you're like me. So we have available parking nearby, and in the downtown area, we also have street parking, and all this is available to everybody. But in a downtown situation, you know, you park somewhere, you walk around, and that's kind of the idea, is you wanna get people walking. You know, we could have a bike rack here, that would be great, but, just because we don't have a lot of parking on site, doesn't mean that the building couldn't function, much like Point Antiques has 0 parking. So if their closest parking lot, by the way, is across from Frankie's, and depending on which way you get to that parking lot, your closest parking space is somewhere around 450 to 500 feet. So it's a good walk as well. So that's pretty much what we've got.
You know,
Basically,
one thing, I put you on the spot, I meant to ask you that one, we're in the office the other day. Under this new redevelopment zone, approximately how many, how much square foot of commercial building and approximately how many condos, or residential condos could be put up? Could you figure that?
Well, I mentioned, if this building were torn down, that's certainly not what I want to see, because I'm on the Historic Preservation Commission, but if the building were torn down and the building were built to 50% lot coverage, as is allowed in the zone, and you had some retail on the first floor facing Arnold Avenue, parking on grade with a building above it, much like what was recently approved at 501 Arnold Avenue, you'd probably get a building of about 30,000 square feet. And you'd probably have 12 to 14 units, of 2 and 3 bedroom units. So that's not our proposal, but it is available in the zone. So,
In other words, if somebody wanted to buy this property and say, heck with the old Rudy's building, they would be pretty much entitled by that ordinance.
well,
the
they'd
way
have
you
to
just
come in
said.
for
Yeah,
approvals,
they'd
and
have to come in
conform to
by way
building
approval.
height, but, yeah.
But assuming they come in within the ordinance requirements,
Mhm.
they could build a building, what'd you say, close to 30,000 square feet?
Yeah.
With how many residential units?
12 to 14.
Okay. And how many, and how much commercial space?
Probably, I'm gonna guess maybe 5,000 square feet.
So, in your opinion, put on your planning hat for a second?
Sure.
What do you, and you're also on the Historic Society?
I'm on the Historic Preservation Commission.
Okay. I'll make it simple for me. What do you think in your plannings, with a planning hat, is a better use for the town?
I prefer this approach right now. And as I stated, because it will revitalize the area
Lots of kids coming in.
and the building on a much faster track. And, you know, the other proposal could take years. And the building's
Does
in
the
good shape.
historic overlay give you any additional uses beyond highway commercial, or is it still?
No.
That's just regulating the building, the architecture, the finishes?
Yes.
And
Yes.
the upkeep of the building?
Right, and if an applicant, the way the ordinance is written, is if an applicant chooses to use that part of the ordinance, the building has to have historic look. It has to conform to the underlying uses in the zone. So,
And Ray, this is not general commercial, it's highway commercial.
This is highway commercial, yeah, the zone changes at Kramer. So to the west is highway commercial.
Huh.
And the east is
Interesting.
general commercial. So there's highway
Where's the
commercial.
highway of Arnold Avenue? That is
Yeah.
when people start speeding up, right around there.
True.
And just another question, unless the chairman has a question.
I don't.
Okay. There would be an affordable housing component to that.
20%. Once you go over once you hit 5 units, 20% of the units would have to comply with affordable housing.
Don't start bringing up things that are gonna make us wanna turn it into housing. Jeez.
I'm trying not to.
Yeah.
Okay, but I just, so we know what we're talking about, apples to oranges, he's a member of the Preservation Society, and he's an architect in town.
So,
And-
Mr. Cox, I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
We talk about the historic value of Rudy's. What part of that is from the 1930s, and then what part is 1995?
Okay. Follow me.
Sure. Because
I was hoping somebody would ask.
You should give it.
I took notes. So, here's what we believe, and again, I'm saying that I conferred with Jeremy Woolley, who is the official town historian. So we believe that this portion of the building was built in 1930.
That's, on that, why don't you refer, that's A4, your drawings?
I'm looking at my first floor plan labeled A4, and what I'm pointing to is the first floor easterly portion of the building. At that
essentially
time-
what Matt is taking.
Yes, he's taken this portion and the back, and I'll get there in a second. And at that time, there was another building on the property. There was also a building next door where the parking lot is. Anyway, this was first, and then sometime between then and around 1984, what I call the middle square was constructed as a one-story building. And then the rear square, this wasn't here, the rear square was built somewhere in 1984. And the reason I know that is the client gave me the drawings from another local architect, and that's the date on his drawings.
And the lower portion of that A4 is approximately what? Is that-
Well, I'm getting there.
Okay.
This portion was built after 1984, but it was built as a one-story section. That's where my hand is, right here. That's when the octagon came into play. In 1994, they renovated the front. They dressed this front entrance up of the original building. Then in 1995 is when they put the second floor on. And that's when the resolution came in for just storage above. Again, as my client stated, if you're on the second floor, it's all hardwood, or what? It was and is. It's all hardwood, it's all sheetrocked, it's all finished, they got nice
And then
windows.
the board turned around and said, hey, by the way, don't build on this.
Well, no, the board allowed the second floor, which is this portion, and he used it, as far as I know, as storage. Again, many years ago, when it was operating as Rudy's, there was an opening here. You could walk in their front door, as I recall it, and wander around virtually anywhere. I specifically remember being in the basement. I'm not so sure about being on the second floor, but they had stuff everywhere. So whatever they were approved for and how they used it is, the way it happened. But the building's in good shape. There's really no reason to knock it down or rip the roof off and put another floor on. We're proposing, let's get it back into use and be part of the downtown.
Anyone else on the board have any questions of the architect? Ray has a question?
Yeah, just one for Mr. Cox, just with regard to the basement.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not clear, because where is it? Got too many open. Oh, so the application indicates that tenant one fitness center, approximately 5,413 square feet on the first floor and basement. So can you clarify that?
Yes. I glossed over that. In the original portion of the building, there's a set of stairs that goes down to a basement area. There's a very small basement area under a portion of the existing building that is all mechanical. It's not a legal stair by today's standards, but the gym is not gonna occupy that as exercise space or office space. It's really just a mechanical space.
Okay. But then the other space, that larger space, is indicated for tenant space.
Yes, and even when Rudy was there, if you were to be in this section, there's a set of stairs that go up to what I'll call the mid level, but there's a grand set of staircase going down to what was their basement.
So the basement has two areas of egress to get out of the
They
basement?
do. They have the staircase that goes up to the main level, and they also have an exit that goes through a Bilco door. Back in the 90s, I guess that was acceptable. Oh, the other good thing about this building is it's completely, totally sprinklered with a real sprinkler system. That has been there and is being kept, so it's totally sprinklered building.
How about bathrooms?
So depending on the uses, we would have to add bathrooms, and obviously, anything we do to this building would fall under the rehab subcode. So we would have to make it all meet code, put in the proper number of bathrooms based on the proposed occupants, handicap bathrooms. We do not have to supply an elevator, because in the rehab subcode, if you're not providing vertical access, then you don't have to put in an elevator. And we don't have to supply vertical access because we can use the existing stairs.
So because it's in the historic district, do you have to deal with AD, your Americans with Disability
No, we
Act
do.
AD?
We do, but we deal with that through the New Jersey Rehab Subcode.
Okay. Thank you.
So there's no bathrooms on the second floor, right? This,
There will be.
the one that was used as storage, or there will be?
There has to be, yes.
Okay.
So there would be, well, they're not on this drawing, but we plan on putting bathrooms on the side.
I'd just like to ask the question, if we could. I think you'll be a good witness of our various witnesses on Gray's report, paragraph 4, on the second page. He asked, "The applicant shall provide testimony regarding all existing proposed uses on the site and how the proposed uses will affect the neighborhood." If you put on both your architect hat and planning hat, what is your answer to that question?
Well, realizing that we have another planner behind me, well, my opinion is I think reusing the existing building and not expanding it will have minimal impact on certainly what the neighbors view in terms of the overall view of the neighborhood and the buildings. And I think having another viable, hopefully full building with tenants and commercial or approved uses that primarily, well, entirely, ingress and egress off of Arnold Avenue in the main street would be a good thing for the town.
Anyone else on the board have any, Ray?
I just got one more. Can you go through again, because at the outset you said something about the square footage. Could you just go through again the gross leasable area that you have calculated by floor?
Sure. We calculate the leasable area of the basement at 1,937 square feet.
How much again?
1,937. We calculate the first floor total at 9,020. and the second floor at 5,297.7, for a total of 16,254.7.
Okay. Thank you. So just for the board's edification, and Mr. Kashuba will provide, so I agree with Mr. Cox in that, so, and certain ordinances actually calculate parking requirements differently, gross, gross area of the building, which would be the outside walls, or gross leasable area, which would be the interior of the walls. Given the nature of the use, a retail use, and since the local ordinance requires parking based on the area that the public has access to, well, obviously they're not hopefully crawling in the walls, so a gross leasable area would be the more appropriate sizing for a maximum parking demand. So I would tend to agree with Mr. Cox's calculation as far as square footage. I just know, looking at Mr. Kashuba's plan, that the second floor he has at 5693, Mr. Cox had 5300, so relatively the same. First floor 9,027 on Mr. Kashuba, 9,020, they are the same. And then the bigger difference is within the basement on Mr. Kashuba's plan, about 3,005 square feet, where Mr. Cox indicated 1,937, so about 1,000 square feet less there. And certainly with regard to the gym, Mr. Cox has indicated that the portion of the basement that the gym has access to is not a public space, so I would probably not count that in the parking demand.
Anyone else on the board, any questions?
Yes, getting back to the West Laurel driveway, right? That's an engineering question. When I asked the percentage of that, Ray,
I'm sorry.
percentage of the West Laurel driveway?
Oh, the percentage of West Laurel driveway is 10% of the total lot area.
That's 10% of the total lot area?
10%. So the driveway itself is, oops, hold on. The driveway itself measures approximately 22 feet wide by 111 feet long, approximately. So that's about 2,442 square feet on a lot that, at least when I just used Adobe to measure it, 23,900 square feet, though I'm sure Joe has it in here. 27,802, so a little bit less than 10%.
We're not, the proposed says we're not using this. Has there been any thought into trying to get the impervious back into standard?
It's not me.
That'll be engineering.
Mr. Kashuba.
I thought you were, I'm
He's
sorry.
our architect.
Excuse me, attorney planning.
I just want to ask him that one planning question, because he's very familiar with the town and the district and so forth.
Sure. Oh, you already asked the
That's
one
what I
that you
wanted
did
to
ask.
ask.
Okay.
That's what
Anyone in the audience have any questions of the architect? Sir, come on up, just restate your name again.
Sure, once again, Terry Brady. I neglected to mention that I'm also a resident of Point Pleasant Beach. I live at 208 Trenton Court, which is right at the corner of Trenton Court and West Laurel. And the question I have, a couple of questions. Number one is, the existing structure that's been used as restaurant equipment, public has access just to the first floor at present, correct?
That's what they were approved for.
The public does not have access to the basement, correct?
Well, the way the building's configured, and I can tell you from personal experience, there's a very large gracious stairway from the first floor down to the basement that's been there for years. There's no, there were, when I was last in the building, when it was operating as Rudy's, there was no barrier, there was no sign, don't go down here. As same with the stairway going up to the second floor. Now, I understand how it was approved, just telling you what the actual physical conditions of the building were the last time.
Nonetheless, you'd agree with me that the basement and the second floor was not approved for any public access, correct?
Apparently, yes, correct.
So, you're suggesting that in this application, there will be some public access to the basement and to the second floor,
Yes,
correct?
absolutely.
Are any part of the basement or the second floor within any setback area?
No.
So, what you're suggesting is that the public shall have access to the basement and the second floor, which will virtually more than double the amount of usable space that the public will have access to, correct?
No, it's not gonna double, it's gonna be
Well-
about 50%. Because the existing first floor, actually in Mr. Savacole's letter, was calculated at around 7,500 square feet that the public had access to, right? And now, we're gonna be, for just the mercantile, we're gonna be around 11,000 square feet, presuming that the gym takes the 51% of the first floor. So it's absolutely gonna increase, and that's one of the reasons why we're here tonight. But it's.
And you're providing zero parking for that, correct?
Correct.
Okay. You've indicated that there's also the possibility or the potential for knocking down this building and putting in a commercial building on the bottom with residential units on the top, correct?
That's a whole nother application.
And that's a whole nother issue, isn't it?
Absolutely.
That would be relevant to a C2 variance, right, a better zoning alternative, wouldn't it?
Well, no, because the town has zoned in the historic overlay zone, as I call it. You're allowed, if you choose to use that overlay zone as part of your application, correct me if I'm wrong, Ben, but it's not a variance, it's allowed under the zoning regulations.
But you're suggesting that this is a better zoning alternative to what would otherwise be permitted, which is this other
I'm just
business.
letting everybody know what zone it sits in town.
Well, you did testify that it's better, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. So, again.
Not that, but let's be clear, that's not a bad idea. It's a different idea. I prefer revitalizing the existing building.
And you'd agree with me that the better zoning alternative argument has got nothing to do with the deep variance, correct?
I believe we have a variance because we have an existing single-family building.
Are you aware that you're asking for a deep variance here?
Yeah.
You're aware of that, right?
Yes,
Understand
because
Mr. Brady, Mr. Cox has opined that he is a planner. I believe the planning testimony in support of the D variance is forthcoming. So
Yes.
there has been no testimony, I would agree with Mr. Brady, as to the positive and negative criteria, proofs that are required for the D2 variance.
And I guess the other question that I'm sure is on everybody's mind, if it was, and we don't think it's going to be, but if there was gonna be a commercial use with apartments on top, part of the ordinance would require parking for that, wouldn't it?
Oh, absolutely, sure.
Okay. Thank you, that's it. One more question.
Yes, sir.
And that's, part of this building is gonna be used for gym, correct?
Yes.
But the other parts are gonna be used for office, correct? Or could be used for office, correct?
Whatever's allowed in the zone is what we're asking for.
Yeah, and there's a whole bunch of things allowed in the zone, right? So
Yes.
you could have an office use, you can have small restaurant use, you can have another retail use, you can have a number of different things. So you'd have a lot more than two uses on this parcel of land, wouldn't you?
Potentially.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. So, and the ordinance says one use per tract, correct?
No, I don't believe it says that. I think it says one building per tract.
Yeah, I think a little bit of confusion is we have a residential building, which in itself makes it a use variance because we got two buildings. And, under the law, as you know, as attorney, change of use in what we're doing here necessarily requires a use variance.
Anyone else have any questions?
Just one more.
Sure, Mr. Saddle.
So just for clarification, Mr. Cox, with regard to the overlay district, so certainly the southern portion of the site containing the driveway would not be in that district, is that correct? So it's in
I
the
believe you're correct,
it's
yes.
in the SF5 zone, so
Right.
that would not be part and parcel to that. And when you're saying you could do that, that would assume that the site is completely raised to the ground, right, including the single-family dwelling. Otherwise, a use variance would still be required.
Correct. Or the building modified to the extent that it would comply with the overlay zone. I mean, you don't have to tear the building down to convert it into,
Well, no, I'm just speaking specifically to the single-family residential structure that exists on the site as well.
yes. I agree.
Right? I didn't quite follow your question.
So I think Mr. Cox was saying, more or less by right, or, with site plan approval, the historic overlay district allows for this type of use. And I just wanted to clarify that it's not permitted in the SF5 zone, and it would not be permitted on this portion of the lot while the single-family dwelling remains.
Yes. Correct.
I would agree with that.
There's no more questions? Mr. Kashuba, I guess it is. Oh,
I don't
hold
know.
on, we do.
Yeah, we asked a question.
Oh, yeah, I had asked and nobody said anything, so I'm asking again.
I'm asking the members, so.
Yeah.
My name's Mary Turbeck again, and so I have a question. And I'm glad this is a historical district, that's nice. I like Rudy's, I've been upstairs also, probably.
Right.
However, downstairs in the basement, it was blocked off when I was there.
Okay.
Just so you know. Okay, so my question is, you mentioned about the antique emporium,
Mhm.
and I've been there plenty of times too, lots of us maybe have. But that is not in a residential area, so I understand they don't have parking, but I don't think there are too many houses that are around there. So I think there is a difference between those two
I
comparisons
don't
that you made.
disagree, but I brought up the other building just as a reference to a building of a certain size and relative parking nearby. Not that it's the same by any means, but they are both in a commercial type district.
Yeah, no, I get it, but I think there is a difference,
Oh, yeah,
you know.
sure.
That, and one other thing, you both mentioned, I think you may be responsible for the parking lot that got enlarged in some way, but the town, I just want everyone to know, and I have a feeling people behind me know this, the parking lot was enlarged on Arnold Avenue in Kramer for a reason. It's because there isn't enough parking there. And this is before this project happened. And I'm fine with the project, I just think there needs to be accommodation for the many, many more cars that will be here. Because they not
Ma'am,
only enlarged.
do you have a question of the architect?
My question is, since the town has already recognized that there is not enough parking in this area of the town, how will this project take care of the many more spots that are needed?
The next witness will be better suited to
I'll be back
answer.
again.
Yes? You got a question, sir? Okay, thank you.
That's it. You have anything else? Ray, do you have anything else you want?
No, I've exceeded my max.
Good job, Greg.
Mr. Chair, if I might ask 2 minutes to.
Sure, I'm not even gonna break, we'll just go, we're
Thank you.
gonna pause for 2 minutes here.
Can we make it a little longer than that? 3 minutes.
Recessing for 4, remember the microphones are on, be careful what you say.
So Terry is the board attorney down in Pine Beach. So I take over for a guy that leaves TNF. This couple comes in, young couple just married. They bought their grandmother's house. So
next master plan.
They're trying to put a second floor on it, and it's 8 feet outside.
Ask Mr. Sabacle, he would know best. Has nothing to do with
They
us.
have deer in the headlights, no clue.
The planning board, we're the zoning.
This is not a bad idea.
Yeah, some towns,
Rips them to
yes,
shreds.
no,
Says,
it's
why don't
two
you
different
split
boards.
the second floor in 2 feet? And I'm going, what? And they deny it, and they deny it. And I go, what? What the fuck? So Terry says to me afterwards, he goes, oh, by the way, he goes,
Before I was like opening it, and you took my microphone away.
and I go, here I am, like, giving the planning testimony for the guy, and I'm going, boy, that's a bummer. And I didn't get reappointed, which was fine, because I didn't want to drive the Pine Beach.
Especially if they're saying no to everything.
Yeah, right. Especially that. I'm like, that was easy.
People come sit
Yeah, you can fight for them, I don't care. But then across the site, he's the official planner on this case.
Yeah, yeah. Right. Oh, right behind him. That Dennis Carrigan. I went to her house. Wasn't it you the one that told me that whoever the planner was pissed them off so bad they approved it or something? Oh, yeah.
I understand you live in the borough. Listen to the people from the beach and why so explain to you, what is.
That's right. That's the story you told me.
And I was going down, turn on the Nice. We can squeeze that in there.
Yeah.
Fire truck, you can get it in there, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
It's funny that we're talking about that.
Yeah, I thought that was terrible too. It's this lot right here. Right? So,
It was a big parcel, but it was literally, it accessed right through that little house, and there was an existing house on this side.
Coming down on the border right
Right,
there.
another one.
Yeah, I thought it was farther back
I
here,
think so
but-
too, yeah. This might be dangerous.
Yeah, because I think that's the existing house.
Oh, there it is there.
Yeah.
Yeah, because this was like the father, then the son got this.
Oh, yeah,
and
that
they
was
built
the other
third
piece.
one.
It was a family swap.
Right.
Yeah.
Because the old man sold the farm.
We're gonna reopen the meeting. Roll call, please.
Secretary Davis.
Here.
Ms. McFadden.
Here.
Vice Chairman.
Here.
Chairman Structure.
You don't.
Here.
Mr. Neal.
Here.
Mr. Clayton.
Here.
Mrs. Lotus.
Aki.
All the county board.
Okay, thank you. You could get sworn in, Mr. Kishuba, and then give us your background briefly, because you also have a locker here in the building somewhere.
Swear affirmative testimony, I give before this board
do. Joseph Kashuba, KBA Engineering Services, Manasquan, New Jersey. Licensed engineer and planner in the state of New Jersey. Licensed engineer since 2005, planner since 2007. Testified before numerous boards in both capacities as on use variances as well. And have testified before numerous boards in Monmouth and Ocean County, including this one many times. Many times.
We accept. Please
Thank you.
proceed.
Thank you.
Okay, Joe, why don't you just go ahead and tell us about what the project consists of, and then go through the engineering and planning testimony, and address any open comments, and raise letter.
Certainly. So we do have a 27,800 square foot lot in the HC zone. It does have that existing driveway that extends from West Laurel Avenue. I did review historic aerials prior to the hearing. That driveway appears to have existed for some time. Sometime between 1986 and 1995, the pool was installed, as well as an extension on the east side of that rear house. That's about the time it appears that that driveway was paved. Before that, it continued through the site over to Arnold Avenue. So it appears that prior to, say, early 1990s, late 80s, there was a driveway that extended from West Laurel to Arnold Avenue. You could drive right through. The pool and house cut it off. As far as, I know there's some question about the history and how it came about. It does contain two principal uses and structures on the lot, which violates the ordinance in 1911.9. The single-family dwelling is located in the highway commercial zone as well, which is a non-permitted use in the zone. So we do require a D2 use variance for this application. There are some existing nonconformities, lot width, front yard setback, side yard setback, and rear yard setback. We're not proposing any improvements to the building. We're not changing any of the footprint of the building, any of the setbacks, or at this point, any of the coverages. I did calculate that the back driveway accounts for about 8.7%, I think is the number I came up with.
I agree with that.
So we are proposing to change the use of the existing commercial building into a fitness center on the first floor for one tenant, and then and they'll have some basement space, which is actually just mechanicals, and then together with flexible commercial uses that are permitted in the zone. Uses that are permitted are retail, experiential retail, restaurants, department stores, office uses. We're also seeking a removal of special condition number 3 from Board Resolution 1995-02, which limited that second floor to storage only with no public access. I agree, you do have a bit of a unique ordinance in that your parking requirement only for retail uses, retail and experiential uses, is limited to areas that the public has access to. Your offices are based upon usable area or floor area, but the retail is 1 per 100 for areas that the public has access to. So we do require parking relief here. There are only, technically there's probably up to about 12 parking stalls available on the property, but we're purely limiting those to the residential use only. Right now, approximately two parking spaces right in front of the home are what are used primarily, and the residents can park in the rear parking area, but we are not providing, and it's stipulated as identified via testimony in the leases that there's no parking on the site provided for any of the commercial uses, which is an existing condition. So in a minute, I'll go through some of the parking calculations so we can, obviously, it's a pretty stark parking variance that we're asking for, but we shouldn't look at it in a vacuum. This building does exist, has existed, and needed parking previously. So we want to compare what was previously on the property versus what we're proposing. So I'd say the principal engineering issue is that lack of on-site commercial parking, which is not unique in the downtown. The ordinance demand here, the amended ordinance demand, I believe, is 164 or 165 parking spaces. That's inclusive of 2 parking spaces needed for the residents. So we need 163 parking spaces for the commercial use. But that's assuming every square foot is utilized for a retail use. You do not have a gym use standard. I believe the zoning officer would apply the experiential retail use for that, which is a 1 per 100 standard, which is rather high for any type of gym use. Obviously, any type of physical fitness use, you need space to move around, perform the exercises. So that type of higher intensity parking demand is likely not appropriate. Now, they are taking the gym use, as we've testified to, is taking approximately, I think it's 5,100 square feet of usable space on the first floor. If we discount the basement, again, that's only mechanicals, that accounts for about 51 parking stalls. You heard the testimony tonight that the gym use that we're proposing, and I think gym is too encompassing of a term for what the use that we're proposing, but that is the term utilized in your ordinance. This is a physical training facility, or personal training facility, and the testimony was that approximately 20, at max 25 people are in the building, including trainees and trainers. You did not hear testimony yet, though, that there's not the expectation that every single person drives. We're going to assume that that they do, but it is a pedestrian area. People are going to the gym, so it's not unusual that they might walk or bike to the gym. But for purposes of just general parking calculations, the space requires 53 spaces under your ordinance, but in reality, a maximum 25 are really needed for the user in the testimony you heard this evening. So right there is some, reduction. And we have the other benefit of the gym use of having offsetting peaks. So that is one of the uses we're asking for approval for tonight. The gym use you heard is primarily busy in the mornings, as expected. 5 to 10 a.m. is their hours. The earlier hours tend to be busier. That is when the downtown area is not quite as busy. The parking spaces are available. You heard testimony that the afternoon uses are only a 2-hour window, and it is their less busy time. So we call that, from engineering, the offsetting peaks. So where the downtown restaurants might peak for dinner in the evenings, maybe later in the week, and certainly on the weekends, in the mornings, there's going to be available parking on-street parking and in the public parking lots. And that's also speaks to the applicant's indication that this is a great tenant for this spot, because a vibrant downtown has those offsetting peaks, has different users that utilize the parking at different times. If the entire downtown were full of restaurants, you would have a major parking problem. It is that vibrant and mix of uses that makes a downtown work. With that, comparing it to the previous use, we had approximately 75 parking stalls was the demand. If you assume that Rudy's had 7,500 square feet of area that was accessible to the public, I think that was probably closer to 9,000 or 10,000 in reality, how Rudy used it, or whatever his official first name was. But per approval, about 75 parking stalls. The rest of the mercantile area that we're proposing is about 11,000 square feet. That's the remaining user or remaining area. But it is not typical in any type of retail use that the public has access to the entirety of that space. The standard is generally between 75 to 85% of a retail space is open to the public. The remainder of that is left for inventory, employee areas, back of house, administrative offices, things like that. So because we don't know users, we can't hand you the exact floor plan that we're proposing. We are asking for the worst case to be very transparent before the board, but I think the anticipation here is that in 11,000 square feet, we'd only expect to have about 9,000 square feet that's actually accessible to the public. Which equates to 90 parking stall demand. Rudy's had a 75 parking stall demand. The gym is going to be used in off-peak times. So my point being to compare apples to apples, although yes, it is a stark request, 165 parking stalls where 0 are provided. In my opinion, we're approximately 15 to 20 additional parking stalls needed the way we plan to use this building compared to how it was used before and how it was approved. So this board did approve the building before without any parking. allowing 7,500 square feet for that user. And when I say for that user, we talked about it here tonight about, this particular gym operator might not be there. I believe the board can certainly put conditions on the uses, since this is use variance, to ensure that, you don't get a Planet Fitness type of user here, which is, very high intensity type of gym. I think that would certainly be appropriate for the board to do, given that we're providing the testimony that it's a lower intensity user. But I think, in my opinion, although there is an increase, there is an intensification, that is what creates this D2 variance that I'm going to explain to you in a minute. I don't believe that increase is as drastic as it might seem on its face. So there's certainly an intensification here, but I don't believe it's that stark. So the highway commercial zone operates as a walkable traditional downtown. Customers frequently utilize and share the municipal parking spaces, or walk to downtown, or bike. There's always been a long-standing reliance on the surrounding municipal parking in that area, as well as pedestrian access. We're not enlarging the physical exterior of the building. We're not adding floor space. We're asking to utilize some of it that was purely limited storage for leasable area. And in all honesty, some of that will certainly be used as storage. We just don't have those particular metrics to provide to you. So we're asking for the variance that's necessary. The parking variance represents a logical continuation of this long-standing zero parking site. Utilizing the adjacent parking authority lot directly supports the adaptive reuse of this building in the downtown, without forcing an unnecessary demolition to create asphalt parking spaces. So, if this building, another option that any property owner has is to demolish the building and construct parking with the building, perhaps parking underneath. I don't believe that's appropriate under your historic preservation designation for the area. I don't think it's appropriate for to have another driveway access on Arnold, or busier driveway access. I think the reuse of this building is the most appropriate use, and I think I can demonstrate that under the D2 criteria here momentarily. So the D2, the board may grant that variance relief to allow the expansion of a non-conforming use. So we're not asking for a D1 use. D1 means we have a blank slate and we're coming to you asking for a use variance. This use variance exists. It was approved by this board previously in 1995. It had the use variance. To be clear, the commercial use that we have here is not the non-conforming use. The commercial uses are permitted. It's the single-family residence that's non-conforming. But the board engineer rightfully identified that there's case law that says if you intensify the permitted use in one of these combined use cases, that constitutes an expansion and constitutes an intensification requiring the D2 use variance. So it's inappropriate to argue, hey, we're only intensifying the permitted use, so we shouldn't need a use variance. We do, and the case law is clear. So the testimony for a D2 variance is a little bit different than the D1 variance. While both require positive and negative criteria to be provided, the legal standard of a D2 focuses on the nature and extent of the deviation, the impact it has on nonconformity. Essentially, our intensification here is that what I just estimated for you, approximately 15 to 20 additional parking stalls, the additional square footage. The testimony from the architect was the first floor allowable previously about 7,500 square feet, now 11,000 square feet for the mercantile plus the gym. So it's that expansion and whether the site can accommodate the expansion and whether that has a detrimental impact from that expansion. The non-conforming use is the mixture of the two uses. The relief also includes the removal of that previous condition. The nature of the deviation is that increased floor space and any detriment that might create. As I've identified, the parking demand is increased, but I do believe the downtown can manage the increased square footage, especially because of the mix of uses we're providing, the gym use specifically. The gym use is a great use for the downtown, a great use for the site, and also properly uses the parking at the off-peak times compared to what other users may experience, or other tenants might experience. This proposal for the adaptive reuse as a modern, health-focused, and experiential thank you, commercial facility without expanding the footprint, in my opinion, promotes the general welfare. It's also consistent with your master plan. The 2015 re-exam noted to strive to foster an aesthetically pleasing downtown commercial district for the ease and safety of pedestrians. Your 2021 re-exam expands upon this, noting this objective appears to address two different topics. It's recommended the objective be divided into two objectives: protect and enhance the borough's historic maritime character by maintaining appropriate scales of development, intensity, use, and architectural style, and promoting streetscape designs that encourage pedestrian activity and enhances safety. This application certainly preserves the building. We're not looking to wholesale remove it. We're not looking to demolish. We're utilizing the building in its current capacity, seeking to utilize some more floor area. The intensity of use that's changing here is purely on the interior. We're not adding any additions. We're not expanding any floors. In addition, as Mr. Cox identified, your historic overlay zone also promotes the reuse of buildings. And specifically, it identifies a pretty wide swath of what they consider historic. Right from your ordinance, the purpose of the Downtown Historic Overlay District is to provide incentives to preserve Point Pleasant Beach's historic seashore character and buildings constructed between 1880 and 1980. So obviously, this building did exist prior to 1980, other than the testimony was the second floor addition. But we are seeking to preserve that existing structure. And this application, I think, certainly promotes those master plan goals. I do believe the site is particularly suited for the use. It has been there for a substantial amount of time. The board has found previously that it was particularly suited. So for all those reasons, I do believe the justification for a D2 variance here can be, are provided. Next, we look at the negative criteria. Is there any substantial detriment to the public good as a result of this application? The substantial detriment would typically either be the intensity of the use or the intensity of the structure. Again, the structure is not changing, so I don't believe there's any substantial detriment to the public good as a result of the structure or the site conditions. With regard to the change or the increase in usage or square footage, all of that is accessible from Arnold Avenue. So obviously, the preservation of the public good speaks to the entire public good, but I think, weight is placed upon the residential areas surrounding the property, specifically to the south of the property. There is no commercial access to the south. There's no commercial impact to the south from this site. All the access is from Arnold Avenue. So I don't believe there's going to be a substantial detrimental impact to the public good from pedestrians or patrons accessing the building, whether there's additional square footage there or not. The parking demand, I think, is adequately addressed via the surrounding off-street parking. The public parking lot is immediately next door with 35 parking stalls. There's on-street parking that's available. It's difficult to get around to the residential properties to the rear. On West Laurel, it's not very convenient to get there. Now, obviously, in times when the downtown is very busy, I'm sure there are people who park around that area, but it's certainly not the most convenient parking to this site to drive all the way around to West Laurel to the rear of this site. The commercial use exists and will not have a substantial impact on odor, glare, vibration, noise. You've heard testimony tonight that the gym user has stipulated that there will be no loud noise or noise that's audible outside the structure. The use will be similar, any user here will be what's permitted in the zone and what's similar to what has existed there. So there are no impairments that are going to be new to the neighborhood. The building's there, the retail's there, the uses are there. I also don't believe there's a substantial impairment to the zoning ordinance or the master plan. The proposed uses are permitted and consistent with the highway commercial zone. The residential use that does exist there remains separated from the commercial activity, buffering the commercial activity from the residential zone to the rear, and preserving that basic zoning framework that has existed there for some time. I think the benefits of introducing a vibrant, even health-oriented mixed commercial use to this area substantially outweigh the detriments of the parking shortfall here. And I think the application could certainly be approved. In my professional opinion, the D2 variance may be granted. I do not believe there's substantial impairment of the zone plan or zoning ordinance. I do not believe there's substantial detriment to the public good. I believe the benefits here certainly outweigh the detriments to reuse this existing building and extend the downtown area.
Okay, is that your testimony?
That's my testimony. We can certainly review Mr. Savacool's
That's what I was
letter.
gonna suggest, that we go through Ray's letter.
From a planning perspective.
Yes.
When there's a parking shortage, like, is that detriment more to the public or to the potential tenants? Meaning, if I'm a business that needs to drive lots of cars to come to my space and there's no parking spaces, I'm probably not gonna choose that building, all right?
Well, so you're correct. So I would say from a planning perspective, municipal land use law, they don't really look at the tenant. They're more concerned with the neighborhood. But yes, it is certainly self-limiting that if we have a building or a tenant looking at a building and they don't feel that there's adequate parking for their particular use, they're likely going to go find another location.
Or they're just gonna park in the neighborhood behind it, right?
Well, like I said, certainly that can happen. I'm not saying that doesn't happen certainly throughout the areas that surround the downtown. But specifically under that question, from a planning perspective, the municipal land use law looks at the public good, the surrounding area.
Any other question? You had more you wanted to go into Ray's letter, I guess?
Yes, I was just curious.
I believe we've addressed most of Ray's letter, but I'll go through it.
Ray, if there's anything we didn't cover.
I can either ask Ray or I can just go through it quickly.
Okay.
Item 1 and 2 from Ray's letter are informational, describing the site and the necessity to obtain a variance. Item 3 addresses that there was the resolution in 1995 and that we need a relief from elimination of the condition for the storage on the second floor.
No way worsens non-conformity, there will be no change to the residence.
Item number 4, we shall provide testimony regarding the existing and proposed uses, which I believe we did toward the best of our ability. Item 5, applicant should provide testimony regarding the lack of on-street parking. I believe we discussed that considerably here tonight. Item number 6 is regarding the 2 driveways on site, the one on Arnold Avenue, the one on West Laurel. I think we've certainly addressed, or at least discussed in length, the driveway on West Laurel. Regarding the item number 7, request testimony regarding the shed which we provided. Item number 8, the applicant should provide testimony regarding the site access for the commercial uses. The only site access for the commercial use that we anticipate, and as is testified, there is a loading dock on the property. It's on the western side of the building. It has access only to Arnold Avenue, so all loading of the building will continue as it does today. That loading dock is usable today.
And so we won't be rolling truck tires out of the loading dock?
So yes, I asked the user that exact question. So no, we will not be rolling truck tires up and down any parking lots or sidewalks. All of the training occurs inside the building.
Because that is associated with the gym space as shown.
Correct.
Well, we will stipulate any condition, if approved, that there will be no outside what would be the right?
Training.
Use of the outside of the premises for any type of physical training. And that includes rolling tires or whatever else they do. And we will also limit any music to quiet music that will remain inside, not any blaring music. At some gyms, as we all know.
And that was, that question was raised in item 9 of Ray's letter. Item number 10 is providing testimony regarding any existing easements between this property and Lot 6, which is the lot to the west, the funeral home. We're unaware of any easements. The driveway is approximately, we own 15 feet of driveway going back, so they can access the parking in the rear. They can turn around using the loading zone without having to go on the funeral home pavement, but the two parking lots do abut, but we're unaware of any known easement between the two. Item number 11, the proposed development is located on Arnold Ave. It is an Ocean County roadway. I did review the county site plan resolution, and for change of use, there is no Ocean County approval required. And then item number 12, the applicant should provide testimony regarding all improvements proposed, which we have done.
We would agree to this, the conditions.
Correct, and Ray lists some standard conditions at the bottom of his letter, which we would certainly agree to any conditions issued by the board.
Anyone on the board?
I have a couple.
Okay.
One, I'm pretty sure I know the answer to, I'm gonna ask it anyway. Is there any chance of subdividing between the SF5 and the highway commercial?
There isn't, because the SF5 is just that 25-foot strip, so even if we did, it provides no benefit to the application.
Second question, as a planner, as an engineer, do you see that back driveway essential to this property, essential to this project, seeing as how there is driveway from Arnold that serves both the tenant in the house and the tenant in the commercial building?
Essential, likely not. Beneficial, I do see, from the simple point that it is kind of separate from the residential. And if that is a large lawn area that needs to be maintained, it could be a potential for nuisance. The strip of land is certainly necessary, because as you heard, the utilities are extended through that area.
Right, which,
An easement.
putting a lawn there, whatever. it's not
Correct.
gonna-
I have an easement for utility going through to Point Pleasant Interiors through my, so that, the easement would obviously stay. It doesn't mean that you need to have that.
Doesn't need to be a driveway.
So while we're still on.
Yeah, so the answer, I don't believe it's
I
essential.
share a lot, as you can tell, I share a lot of the concern. I lived in that neighborhood some 40 years ago, and West Laurel is probably more narrow than most of the driveways.
Oh, yeah.
10-foot wide road.
Very,
Yeah,
very
I
narrow. So,
absolutely agree.
I have this is an engineering question, I guess, for one of you. If that the south concrete driveway were removed, what would that do to the impervious coverage?
Reduce it by about 8.7% would be conforming.
And it would bring you back
Okay.
into conformity,
Correct.
right?
We're over by about 3% now.
That's big.
That is big.
So I have an observation, Mr.
Sure,
Mr.
Mr. Loader,
Hudson.
what's that?
So, in looking at this project, I know we've had a lot of issues downtown with parking. It's been, people park over by my house. I live at the corner of Atlantic and Gowdy. We got people there all the time. But I know code enforcement or the police department has been aggressively managing parking downtown. They're going around, they're tagging every car with, they use chalk on the tires. It's a 3-hour limit. Were you aware of that when you were looking at the impact of?
I did not review the police records when looking at
Yeah,
this.
so I mean, and my understanding is one of the biggest issues we had downtown were people that worked in the stores, that they would park on the street, and they were there all day. So now, the police chief's mandated that the police department go down there daily and mark tires. If you don't move in 3 hours, you're getting a ticket. So my point is I think that's added to really increasing the flow of cars down there. And we also added more parking spots down there. We took out some of the yellow non-parking area were condensed, and I think we added like 7 or 8 parking spots there in front of the gym, or the Hackensack Meridian Building, and then Kramer Avenue, we actually added. So there has been some addition, not only with the 35 spots in the new parking area, but also on the street.
Yep.
I've heard multiple board members ask for the driveway to go away. Is your client willing to make it grass?
Can we have a 5-minute discussion?
5 over that? Yeah, you could have 2.
Okay. Can we go to the bathroom again?
No, because that took 10.
I did let a lady go in front of me.
Oh, okay. I'm not banging the gavel. I want you back that quickly.
Okay.
We usually end at 10. It's 20 of. There's a lot of people here who want to talk.
Hey, Ray, is that new parking area under the 3-hour limit, just like the street parking?
Only a couple of the lots are 3 hours. Rudy's is 3 hours, not Rudy's, I mean, Borden's is 3 hours. Part of behind Fountain House is 3 hours. I don't think this one is.
How did the high school?
3 hours by Rudy's?
I don't think so.
No?
The parking lot itself, I don't think.
No, but just on Arnold Avenue though it is, right?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, well, I knew it, but I actually saw it. I saw them again today,
Oh, no kidding.
out there, so obviously it hit me. I went down there around, like 11 o'clock, but I don't think they start marking until like 9, 10, 10 o'clock anyway.
Right.
So as far as this goes for the morning classes, it's
Yeah, I mean, 5 a.m. to 8
Yeah,
a.m., nobody's
so-
worried about it. Right.
So how do the high school kids use their parking permits for their homes to park in that big lot behind the mountain house?
There's at least one, so that's the other section, so there was a little lot there, then we bought the Alpies
Right.
25 years ago.
I'm a ringer when
So I think it's that
I don't really play that often, but
You know the answer to
And if he
that?
doesn't want to mow the lawn,
Hey,
he
Greg.
should subdivide it.
Hey, Greg, do you know the answer to that?
yeah, my dad played it a lot.
5-second rule.
Did you feel left out this evening?
Yeah, well, what do you can't like miss this meeting or? You were back home from the salon? Oh, one of the, wow.
I didn't play,
Oh,
but,
it was windy as hell.
I walked right through.
Oh, wow.
So,
You needed that last
we
week.
were riding the bikes on the beach, right? And then there's access.
That was the dumbest argument I've ever heard.
It's a walk.
So he's in the borough.
Right up to, so, my girlfriend and I were like, well, they're mowing.
Oh, that's right, that wasn't here.
So, we walked
I'll
right
tell you
up,
the story
like,
later.
like we belong, and people are, like, taking golf balls, and
Those-
we basically ride all, like, all through.
My son just thinks that Vegas night playing Shadow Creek is the most expensive. Vegas, North Vegas, Shadow Creek.
I'm thinking of Spyglass.
Spyglass, oh, Spyglass. Spyglass is a light band, right?
We're back on, if we could just quiet down. So, we had a pending question.
I spoke to the applicant about removing it completely. He does have concerns with removing it completely, given that it is a 3-bedroom home, 2 vehicles fit nicely in front of the house. Any more than that gets in front of the loading area, extends out towards the street. He does want the ability that if they have 3 bedrooms, they have a kid who has a car or something, to be able to park there only for the residential. But we do understand the impervious coverage, we do understand the concerns. So what we discussed was reducing it down, removing about 50 feet of length to provide compliant impervious coverage, certainly reduce the number of cars that could park there. But he does, have a real concern about eliminating it completely, because he does want to allow the house to have, more than 2 cars that can park near the house.
You testified earlier that there could be 8 cars there. So,
I didn't testify that.
excuse me, Mr. Cox did.
Correct, and that is
Testify.
up the entire side of the commercial building. If you parked from Arnold Ave back to the house, you could fit 8 cars. You're going across the front of the loading dock to do that.
And what's the RSIS standard for?
For a three-bedroom, you need 2 parking stalls.
So
Scott.
8 is a party at that level. I just think that that's more than enough. You're not gonna have 8 cars at your house at any time, you know.
Certainly understand.
Mr. Neal, just one thing, I've been down there a couple times.
Me too.
There's a little confusion on my part, and I would think a lot of people's part, when you pull in off of Arnold, you know, where the dead people going? Or people going to visit the the funeral home, and which way do you go this way?
I don't think
Hopefully they're not driving.
I don't think they don't know where they're going, but what I'm saying is, that front area is a little confusing. My client, I mean, it's easy to say, well, we have definitely 2 spots we can mark off, or we could fit in an extra 5 or 6 cars. But that area to me is a little confusing, and that's one of the reasons why my client.
If you think that's confusing, imagine the one-way on Kramer.
I didn't design Kramer.
Neither did I, but hey, I gotta play by the rules, right? So, that's,
So that was the discussion I had with my client.
Sure, yeah.
Certainly,
sure,
the
that's.
board,
then
open to
that's
the board's
the-
opinion.
Then that is the case putting forward. Okay.
Yeah, I think if any board members denying the whole overall application on the driveway alone, I think we would wanna let the tenant, know that to some degree, because there's a lot more going into this. But they are currently at this moment, saying they would like to have a compliant,
We take out half the driveway.
half the driveway in order to meet the impervious coverage.
So that would reduce the impervious coverage by 4, it would be 4% versus
Approximately 4,
8%.
yeah, 3.8, 3.7.
So can you explain what you mean by remove half the width and keep the whole length?
Keep
Half
the
the
width and,
length?
yeah, keep the width and remove half the length.
Of just the concrete.
So you
Right
go
now, it's
right-
111 feet
Right, but
long,
all
and
you're
that's
talking
not
about right now is
necessary.
removing the
So
concrete.
we would shorten it down to about,
Be
was
55
it
by 24.
54, or less.
Is that satisfactory or not?
No.
Okay, so you guys are not reading things well right now, I'll give you that. So if that's what you wanna
My
go
client,
forward with.
I don't wanna.
And
end up
I'll note
arguing
that-
with the board, we just.
Well, we're not gonna argue.
No, I mean, my client got a little feisty with us, cause we were reading the board, and, my client said, look, I just do not want it that way. If they wanna turn it down, because I've been refusing to take it out, that's their business. I don't wanna take out the whole thing. So, that's why we're doing the speaking. We did read you loud and clear. If,
Got it, okay, so we got it. Any other questions from the board for planning, art, engineering? Any questions? Come on up. Kelly, just state your
He's
name.
gonna cut you right off
address.
there, did you see?
Kelly McGee, I'm at 811 West Laurel Ave. I just have a couple of questions. What evidence do you have that the concrete pad on West Laurel has continuously functioned as a residential driveway?
Looking at historic aerials, I did see the driveway existing back to about at least the 70s, if not further back.
Is the residence currently accessible from Arnold Ave?
I mean, you can't drive the car all the way to the residence, but you can park there and walk to it. You walk through the backyard.
Has the residence functioned without this concrete pad?
Has it functioned? Well, I don't know when the concrete pad was installed, so I would say, yeah, at some point, yes.
So,
I do believe it was gravel at some point.
So your last question, read the question before that,
Is the residence currently accessible from Arnold Ave?
from Arnold Ave.
Oh, from Arnold Ave, yes, it's, I'm sorry, I thought you meant West Laurel. It is accessible from Arnold.
Okay. What hardship exists if this concrete pad is not recognized as a driveway?
I don't believe we're asking for a hardship, because I don't believe any relief is required for that pre-existing condition.
Okay. Did you evaluate the width of West Laurel Ave?
I've driven on it, it's narrow, certainly.
Okay, it is 10-6.
Yep.
Did you conduct any traffic studies?
No.
Did you evaluate existing cut-through traffic on West Laurel?
No.
Did you evaluate sight distances for vehicles entering and exiting?
No.
Did you evaluate pedestrian impacts?
No. Again, it's a pre-existing condition, so we did not look at those things.
Okay, that's all I got. Thank you.
Sir?
State my name?
Yep.
Martin Motto, Trenton Court. It seems to me with this application that they're trying obviously to use the building, which is, I miss Rudy right now. But they want to use it and we all want it used. We want something in there, absolutely. But you can't justify the parking. That, on any night, day, that parking lot on the corner next
Just
to.
form it into a question of this guy.
This is question.
Question.
Is completely filled. The other lot is completely filled. The one that said, the architect had said was walkable. Kramer, we got a couple extra spots on Kramer, they're filled. So we want something there, obviously, and he bought the building, yes, he wants to do something with it, but what happens is you can't put something in there. The gym says
Sir,
25 people.
We gotta get to a question here of
Okay,
his
well, the gym says
testimony.
25 people, so 25 people, and you got the overload, another 25 people. and
Every
they're
swear man
switching.
and let them use it.
Is 50
Well, we'll get to
cars.
that point. We're not gonna do it now,
So
so.
that's only 1/3 of the property, so.
So can
And the
you
other property.
restate your parking? What question are you
Well,
looking to
that's-
ask him?
Yes, it's parking, and then the vague answer of what is left with the rest of the building. Maybe a restaurant, maybe a retail, maybe this.
It's not a maybe. It's only things that are allowed in that zone to go into those
But that's
spaces.
all
And
gonna-
there's a list of those things.
That will all add to the parking, that's all.
Potentially,
And
yes,
we
yeah.
all need that, so, thank you.
We never did get to the question side, but that's all right. We'll get him to come back up when he's sworn
That's why I
in.
said we should just form it.
Anyone else have a question? Come on up, state your name.
Stacy Hummel, I live at 805 West Laurel Avenue. I just wanted to know that if you testified that said driveway went all the way through to Arnold Ave at one time?
The historic arrows showed it went all the way through. It was, I wrote it down.
I lived at 806 Arnold, it never did. 50-something years.
Looking at the 1979 aerial, it did appear to continue all the way through to Arnold.
It did.
There you go. Anyone else? Come on up, sir.
My name is Pete Fishbein. I have a home on 504 Kramer Ave, which is right across from the municipal outlet. And my question is, we haven't spoken much about tenant number 2. We know a lot about tenant number 1, the gym, but could tenant number 2 be a restaurant?
That is a permitted use in the zone.
Tenant number 2 space is like 11,000 square feet, is that correct?
I
Or,
believe,
just so to be clear, we didn't say it's gonna be one tenant.
But it could be.
It could be one tenant, it could
Right,
be
but
five.
it could be one tenant occupying,
Correct.
it could be one restaurant.
Could be one tenant or 5 tenants.
But it could be a restaurant having 11,000 square feet. Is that correct?
I suppose that's possible.
An 11,000 foot restaurant could have a dining area.
Can I just ask one question?
Yeah.
They would need a variance, wouldn't they?
Well, so a 11,000 square foot restaurant, the restaurant parking standard is not the same as the parking
Right,
standard for retail.
it's.
One per 4 seats.
Wouldn't they
One
need a
per 4
variance?
seats, but
Wouldn't they need a variance? Wouldn't they have to come back to this board for a variance?
I would defer that question to perhaps Mr. Savapol, but it is a permitted use in the zone, and it is part of our request.
So I would say, Ben can jump in here, so that if the board permits the usage of the building within the space as it currently exists, the gross leasable area, let's call it, that the tenancy thereof is really a matter of getting a mercantile license, not, that does not alter the nature of, unless the board is so inclined to further limit the uses that are permitted within the building beyond which is already permitted in the highway commercial zone, where it is. So to answer your question, Mr. Rubino, I don't think it would need a variance. Once you move in and you allow the space to be utilized in the nature that's permitted by the ordinance, unless we were to put a restriction on there as to some trigger with regard to, well, you can't have any use that develops more than X amount of parking stalls in some towns have that ordinance, where if you put a medical office in versus like a regular office, it has a higher parking demand, and if you don't have the parking, then you gotta go get a variance for it. You'd have to go to the board and get a site plan approval. So, but absent those restrictions within the resolution, I do not think that they would need further relief.
Let me just,
I would agree with that. If it was a blanket approval that allowed, that approved the separate tenant space for any permitted uses, they're all gonna be deficient for parking. So I would say the ability to change the use and fill that space wouldn't require a return to the board. However, I do think the board has the discretion, particularly in light of the nature of the variances being requested here, to limit that.
but what I don't believe is we would be in position in the next few minutes to understand those calculations enough to give a educated parking, like you're saying, certain
Right,
businesses are gonna drive, how would we be able to come up with that right now?
Right.
There'd be no way.
Right.
Right? Wouldn't it take some work by you and
Yeah.
some
I mean,
advice by Ben?
so, and just again, just like throwing it out there, so there might be certain permitted uses within the HC zone that the board might find that this property simply can't absorb. So maybe experiential retail is one of them, or maybe a restaurant is one of those uses where you feel that if the use of the structure, or if the structure becomes fully utilized, that a restaurant use is simply not tenable, given the testimony that you've heard tonight.
And might I clarify that, Mr.
Worsens the nonconformity was the verbiage used in the, I don't know.
You could say that would further intensify the use such that the applicant would have to return to the board.
And I want to clarify, Mr. Savacool, you'd indicated that they're not tenable, but the applicant would be permitted to come back
Yeah,
if they
yes,
had a
I-
site plan or a more clear application for
Right,
that, under that
right.
particular hypothetical.
So you can understand the gentleman's question with regard
That's
to
why I brought
that.
it up.
With regard to the square footage,
That's
hey.
an easier approach. Any other thing that's gonna go in would have to come back for approval. That I could get my arms around quickly, because that is measurable and we could understand, because, I'm gonna start making decisions on what type of department store is too much for parking versus a barber shop that's probably not a lot for parking versus a bank, which probably needs a certain amount, I don't know. So I think to say that whatever the next tenants are in the upper floor or the basement would require coming back before us to understand how much that would further impact parking and things like that is a much more, I think.
Much more
prudent-
simpler,
Yeah, it's a prudent
simpler.
approach in terms of having the ability to put a reality to it, instead of just sitting here trying to guess out of the 15 uses, let's
Right.
start eliminating 6 of them, because we know. We don't know.
Exactly.
Right? I mean,
Exactly.
Yes.
so that I could understand doing, that you put a restriction that says, it's in a unique place, it already has a big parking deficiency, we know there's the different things, the board may feel certain ways about it, but we know the gyms, how that's gonna operate, how are these other businesses gonna operate?
That would be reasonable.
And since the board is being asked to remove the restriction from the prior resolution, and obviously the testimony was that the prior proprietor there was selling restaurant equipment, and so there's a large inventory area, so you can't pack a lot of people into Rudy's. Packed a lot of stuff into Rudy's, you can't pack a lot of people in there. So to that degree, since you're contemplating permitting an expansion of the space to be utilized, that would seem appropriate.
We got sort of a solution. I'd rather.
All right,
Mr.
well,
Cox
let's
explain it.
let's finish the gentleman's question here.
It might help us answer
Yeah.
those questions.
What I was getting at is 11,000 square feet could support a large restaurant.
It could.
It could support a restaurant that would require as much as 100 parking spots. And the way I consider that is that 11,000 square feet for a restaurant, they could use about half of it as a dining area. So that's about 5,000 square feet. And a rule of thumb on restaurants is that 12 to 14 square feet per seat is normal. And that would be about 400 people, 400 seats. 400 seats with the 4-to-1 ratio of one parking spot for 4 people would be about 100 parking spots. And my question to you is how you would propose addressing the requirement of 100 parking spots.
I think Mr. Cox has come up with maybe half a.
So, sir, I think your earlier question and your continuation of the question got us talking about how we may resolve that. So do you have any others, or otherwise give us a moment to maybe?
Yeah, no, that was.
Thank you for excellent question. Mr. Cox, if you can help explain what.
I can maybe try.
Okay.
I have a question of our engineer. How many cars are we asking for?
How many cars? 163.
163. So we've testified to the requirement that this building could generate the requirement of 163 cars. That's what we testified to tonight. So the application, our client is willing to accept any combination of tenants that would generate no more than 163 cars. Any more than that, you'd be back, or that potential tenant would be back. Going on the restaurant, you got 100 cars for a restaurant, we need 20, maybe 25 cars for a gym, we're in. Right? So that's kind of the concept.
Well, you need 51 for the gym, was I think the number, isn't it?
Under the ordinance definition, correct.
Yeah,
Okay.
well, that's the one we go by.
Right, under the ordinance, using the ordinance as a part.
Stop, you can't all start.
Okay, so we're still
Talking.
less than 163. So just as a general rule, you know, that was the concept.
So, Sten, that is a true statement, right? I mean, the square footage they're showing, although I do think a lot of your testimony argued to the opposite of that, you don't see yourself using that.
Correct, that's
because-
assuming that
because
163
we don't
assumes
use all
every
that.
square foot of the building is usable or accessible to the public.
Right. So, rather than just saying anybody has to come back before us, that is another way of approaching it, that they've come with a number, and anything above that number would drive them back here. So that is, right, that's a viable option as well.
Correct.
All right. Sir, come on up, ask your question. State your name again.
Yes, Terry Brady called back again. Sir, I'm sorry, you were facing the other way, I'm not sure I understood. Did you start your testimony indicating that there are some side yard setbacks, front yard setback issues with the existing building?
Correct, there are some pre-existing nonconformities.
And we are now putting more of a use into the area that's non-conforming, isn't that right?
I don't know that I would characterize it that way. We're putting it into the building that exists on the property.
And part of it, you're not limiting it to the conforming area, you're allowing it to the second story and the basement to be in areas that are non-conforming, correct?
I don't know that those areas, that the entirety of
It
those
doesn't
areas
matter.
are
Can you take a
non-conforming.
look and let me know?
So in this zone, the lot width requirement is 100 feet. Is the mic picking me up?
Yeah.
The lot width requirement is 100 feet. We are 25.58 feet wide, and that's at the West Laurel frontage. So that's a nonconformity that exists, has nothing to do with the building. Same thing with frontage. The front yard setback requirement in the HC zone is 25 feet. The pre-existing is 7.3 feet. I will, placing this back on the easel, the 25 feet extends a little bit into the building here. It's really that front northeast portion of the building that extends further into the front yard setback. I do not know the square footage that extends into that, but it is pre-existing and was previously approved by this board, as you heard testimony about tonight.
The second story was approved just for storage, and you're proposing that be used for commercial use, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so and that would include the front yard setback area that you talked about just a moment ago, correct?
I actually would defer to the architect, because I do believe that second floor is set back.
One at a time, one at a time.
I believe the second floor, other than those dormer areas, it does set back some, so I don't know the square footage. There is some square footage on the second floor that's in the front yard setback. But I do not know the extent.
Are you aware, sir, if that there is a school down the street carrying the parking lot that you're speaking of? The parking lot on the corner of Arnold and Kramer. You're aware that at the end of Kramer is where high school is? Are you aware that sometimes that high school has tremendously little parking? Are you aware of that?
I don't know the count, but yeah, I'm aware of the high school and the parking.
Certainly not enough for all the teachers, and certainly not enough for all the students, correct?
I don't know that.
And you, well, are you aware that some of the parking lot on the corner of Arnold and Kramer is used by school teachers as well as school students?
I've been by that parking lot multiple times. There's certainly vehicles there, but there's certainly also a substantial amount of empty parking stalls when I was there.
Are you aware that there's a church across the street?
I'm aware there's church in the area.
And sometimes churches are on early morning hours as well, that they need parking, correct?
Churches are open early mornings, yes.
There's a rehab facility across the street as well, correct?
It's a vibrant downtown.
And that's used all hours, not just restaurant hours, correct?
I don't know the hours.
You indicated that there is a pool on the property. Is that in-ground pool or above-ground pool?
In-ground pool.
In-ground pool. And how many square feet is that?
It's about 775 square feet.
And if that were to be removed, that would provide extra parking for the residents that it is adjacent to, correct?
There is no way for a vehicle to access that area.
No, all right, thank you.
Any other questions? Yes?
Hello, Jess Monovich, 809 West Laurel. Is it reasonable to assume that if the residents of the rental park on this pad on West Laurel, could it qualify as substantial detriment to the neighbors on West Laurel?
It's residential parking in a residential neighborhood. No, I would not say that's a substantial detriment.
Any other questions? Come on up. I'm just to set everyone's expectations here, I have sat here a long time and I can see how many people still are gonna say something, and the attorney's gonna wanna have a summary at the end, and I'm looking that it's 5 after 10 and we don't go much past 10. So this meeting is gonna carry. It is not gonna finish tonight. So I'm gonna finish taking the questions, and that's where we're gonna close, and we're gonna come back, and right now I'm hearing July 2nd might be an opportunity, depending on everybody's availability from the professional side. But I'm just letting people know. So I don't wanna make you sad in 15 minutes from now, I might as well make you sad now. Go ahead, ask your question.
My name is Mary Turbeck, and I have a really basic question that maybe everybody else understands, but I don't understand. That is a massive piece of property that Rudy's is on, right? There's a lot of room behind. Why can't there be at least some parking behind?
There is.
I know there's two, there's maybe three, but it's a really large piece of property, and I don't understand.
Commercial property would go into, that parking was one of the concerns of the residents. And if, getting your question the right way, that extra parking would end up in the commercial, in the residential section, which, what I'm hearing is what most people do not want.
Yeah, so there's the area for parking that you're speaking of, I think is the area off of West Laurel Avenue.
No, I know about this driveway thing everybody's
Right.
talking about, but there's an awful lot of space back here. I mean,
You have the residential dwelling, you got the existing tree, you got the loading zone, there's really not a substantial area for parking.
So I guess my question is, I wonder if the residents would be interested in this being parking, blocked off and open parking. Would that be good for you guys? That would not.
Usually the questions go to the professionals, but now we're just asking everybody, all at once.
Have a show of hands, by the way?
Tracy Van Brook from Trenton Court. I just have a clarification question about setbacks with the non-conforming concrete pad here.
Yes.
What are the setbacks from the neighbor's sidewalk yards?
On the right side, it's 1.1 feet, on the left side, it is not dimensioned, but I would estimate it's probably about 2 feet.
So you testified that this is a non-conforming portion
That area is not conforming in lot width.
in lot width. And, what are the rules around a driveway on width and setbacks from property line?
I don't know that there's a limitation on the width, or the setback.
There's no setback requirement, well, hold on a second there. So a driveway is supposed to be set back 5 feet off the property line if it's not associated with a garage. I have to look that up. So since this is not associated with a garage, and I believe actually the required setback for the driveway is 5 feet off the property line.
And if it is
On each
associated with the garage, isn't it related if it's a one-car garage or a two-car garage, what the width can be?
So the width that you're speaking of is the curb cut that's permitted. So for a two-car garage, you can have a 16-foot curb cut, one car up to 13 feet, but that does not dictate that's just the curb cut off the street, does not dictate your driveway width or where your driveway could be associated with the garage.
So there is no width limits on your width of your driveway?
Now, the only limit is based upon your impervious coverage.
And setbacks off of property lines?
If it's not.
If it's not associated with a garage.
So I have a second question, which is around the number of curb cuts that are associated with different properties and different kinds of properties. That's the different zone. So my other question has to do with the number of curb cuts associated with the property. And my understanding is that it's acknowledged that the curb cut off of Arnold Avenue is an accepted curb cut that comes in on this driveway?
Correct.
Are there limits on the number of curb cuts you can have associated with any one property? So the second.
Typically, those limits are limited to per street.
Okay, that was my question, so then you can have a second.
If you have a dual frontage property, I don't know that there's a limitation from having a curb cut on that.
Because I have a dual coverage, I'm on the corner, so I wasn't sure that you can actually have two curb cuts and two separate driveways on one property?
So, no, on a residential property, I believe the ordinance has been amended now that you cannot have two curb cuts. I think that's specific to the ordinance. A commercial property, however, is different. There's different regulations on commercial properties.
And so this is a non-conforming residential under
It's a commercial zone.
It's in a highway commercial zone.
Right, and so this zone, this piece of property is in a different zone?
It's in the SF5 zone.
But how does this work?
Well, I think a lot of us have been asking that question.
What carries in this? When you're talking about different numbers of curb cuts and driveway access, what takes precedence in that situation?
So I think the testimony, and I don't want to put words in Mr. Kashuba's mouth, but I think Mr. Kashuba's testimony is that the curb cuts are existing conditions unaltered by the application at hand.
That is accurate.
Unless we are to reduce the amount of coverage in the, which is.
And the applicant is seeking a use variance, so the board is certainly permitted to impose appropriate conditions if they so choose to grant the application.
And how do we define a curb cut on a curb of like West Laurel's type?
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyone else have any questions of the planner, engineer? Going once, twice, and nobody does. So there's nothing more that I would love to do to start my 4th of July holiday weekend and be back here on July 2nd, Thursday night. But are the professionals?
Well, I'm on vacation, but I'll take the day and come in.
Ah, see, look at that.
Can you all make it?
I'll be here.
We get double time holiday pay?
Yeah, holiday pay. Everybody here can make it, I just wanted to.
I'm not sure. We need all seven.
I'm having guests, but I guess. I will.
Somebody else can listen into the tape if we have to and go whatever. So,
First, we have to make a motion to
Yeah.
add the day to our meeting calendar.
We'll do that.
Because it's not scheduled.
all right, let's, and I would strongly just say to the applicant that you, and I know you've had the conversation with your client, and maybe your client is hearing again, but there are board members that feel strongly about the pad and the concrete, and that would be a weird way to lose this whole thing.
And then just one more thing,
Yeah.
I did, and I forget the young lady that answered the question, but under 14-3.5 driveways, it does indicate that, of course, I scrolled up and now I have to scroll back down. In all residential zones where no garage exists, a single car with driveway shall be permitted to exist within the front yard area subject to the following conditions. The driveway shall be no closer than 5 feet to a property line.
I have one question of Mr. Montenegro, which is a legal question.
Yes.
Do you think, because this is a special date, this is not a regular hearing date, this July 2nd is not a normal hearing date?
No, I'm not in it.
Right?
Right.
You don't wanna know what I'm scheduling for. I'm scheduling in December.
Ben, do you think that I have to renotice because it's a special?
No, we're not
meeting?
gonna
No,
ask.
we're
No.
not.
She'll do special meeting adequate notice.
Everybody's here.
Yep.
Who are
I
you
just
gonna
wanna make
notice
sure
to?
it's clear on the
This
record.
is a packed
Got
house.
it covered.
Get a motion to create the July 2nd meeting.
So moved.
I'll second.
Secretary Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Bowden?
Yes.
Vice Chair Reynolds?
Yes.
Chairman Strumsher?
Yes.
Mr. Neal? Mr.
Yes.
Clayton?
Yes.
Mr. Loder?
Yes.
We've added July 2nd as the date.
Get a motion to carry this meeting to July 2nd without notice.
So moved.
Second?
Motion by Mr. McFadden, second by Mr. Loder to carry application 2026-14 of 804-808 Arnold Ave Associates, July 2nd, 2026, without notice. Secretary Davis?
Yes.
Ms. McFadden?
Yes.
7:30.
7:30.
Oh, yes, 7:30. Vice Chair Reynolds?
Yes.
Mr. Neal?
Yes.
Mr. Clayton?
Yes.
Mr. Loder?
Yes.
And Chairman Strumsher.
Yes.
Motion
Get a
carried
motion to
without notice.
to end the meeting.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Karen, do you keep the evidence or we do?
Do you want me to hold on to it? Would it be easier? I'll hold on to it.
I have a way of losing things.
Yeah, everybody take your plans.
Yeah, I got it.
These are extra. I'm putting fire today.
I'll see you guys when it's time to drop.
Oh my gosh.
Been here forever. I don't think it's changed. I don't think it's changed in my tenure.